it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. So swig up a word in Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I got bad news. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I feel terrible. Kwesa, how are you?
I'm not well.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and my throat was a little hoarse. My nose is a little sniffly.
Oh, no.
I took a trip to Walmart this morning, 24 hours. Those people in Walmart are weird this early in the morning.
Yeah, they are.
They are. And everybody spoke to me and I was like, I don't want to talk to you right now. But I got my emergency and my cough drops and my Vicks, puffs over here. So I'm gonna get through this.
And it's all my fault. It's all my fault.
I blame you. I was
for
glaring
coming
at him, y'all.
in here. Oh no, I should have stayed home. See what y'all did. Okay, now we got to make sure we get some kind of medicine, something for Kwesa. And the weather doesn't help because it's going to be like 90-something degrees today.
Yeah.
It's like fluctuating between cold and hot and I feel so bad. But I do have some extra emergency if you need it.
I got a whole bunch. I got like 34 packs of emergency.
You got the big one.
I got the big one.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing games.
I know that's right. I
Playing
know
games.
that's right. That's how I'm doing it too. So I'm taking emergency. I'm taking oil of oregano. Got to give a shout out to my wife. So I got to bring in some of that for you. She made this ginger tea with lemon and honey and some other ingredient in it. It was green tea with all the stuff. Kwesa looking at me like, yeah, man, get out of here. Get out of here, man. But shout out to Levita for doing that. So we're going to make sure we bring in a nice big jug of that for you. Oh, man. So also got to give a shout out to those who were at the forum last night. My mother and my aunt showed up, surprised me last night. They were there. It was an interesting discussion around race and what the church has to do about it. And, in my view, the church has to have an outward view. We have to really stop looking at trying to bring people in and the people in the church need to go out. I think that needs to be the thing that has to happen, and I need to hear a little bit more of that, see a little bit more of that, because the bottom line is that whether you are a believer or not, whether you practice a religion or not, we still black. And we have to figure out how we work together in order to improve our own conditions. And so there's something else I got to talk about this morning, Kwesa. I'm trying to figure out who the president is. Is he Donald Trump or is he Dr. Evil?
Both.
So the New York Times is reporting that this dude held a meeting in March in which he talked about just crazy, medieval type measures to try to keep immigrants from coming over the border. Privately, the New York Times reports, the president had often talked about fortifying a border wall with a water-filled trench stocked with snakes or alligators, prompting aides to seek a cost estimate. He wanted the wall electrified with spikes on top that could pierce human flesh. After publicly suggesting that soldiers shoot migrants if they threw rocks, the president backed off when his staff told him that was illegal. But later in a meeting, aides recalled, he suggested that they shoot migrants in the legs to slow them down. That's not allowed either, they told him. The president was frustrated, and I think he took that moment to hit the reset button, said Thomas Homan, who had served as his acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, recalling that week in March, the president wanted it to be fixed quickly. I'm looking at this dude. I'm hearing these things. And one of the things that we talked about last night was the rift between the Latin community and the African American community, because I know many of us don't care about immigration, don't see it as our issue, don't see it as our fight, don't see people from Latin America as people who necessarily respect or want to work with us, right? I know a lot of us see it that way. But the bottom line for me is this. if they are coming for them like that, if he feels like it's okay to shoot them in the legs, if he feels like it's okay to put spikes on top of a fence to pierce their flesh, if he feels like he should build a moat like this of 1524, right, with alligators and snakes in it, then what's he willing to do to you? Are we willing to work together for all of our benefit? Because this dude is not Donald Trump. He's Dr. Evil. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Temple Professor Lynn Washington on the Harvard affirmative action decision and what it means for black folks. Patricia Claybrook of Gedon Cleaning joins us for Word on Business. Dear Melanie has another hilarious answer to one of life's biggest questions. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065, a toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at forward. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, Philadelphia took a step Tuesday toward reforming vacant property sales plagued by a lack of transparency, slow-moving bureaucracy, and recent scandals as the city council committee approved a bill that would change the city's land sale process. It's about 40,000 city-owned vacant lots all across the city. They want to eliminate one committee involved in land sales, establishing goals and criteria to evaluate land deals and requiring that buyers comply with agreed-upon use for a property. So here's what's been happening, right? People have been getting vacant lots. They've been flipping them for a lot of money. Some of those people have been connected to people in city council. And the thing that really interests me about all of this, and I'm just going to say it, right, is that when black folk hook up their friends, suddenly it's a huge investigation, right? Rizzo was the mayor, man. He ran the whole city on hooking up his friends. That's what he did. Nobody said a peep about it, right? When they asked him about it, they said, Rizzo, why you keep giving contracts to your friends? He said, who I'm supposed to give them to? My enemies? And you know what? He was right. I mean, the bottom line is this, right? That, yeah, people are going to get hooked up. People have always been hooked up, but it never seems to be a huge problem until black folk do it. That's what I'm noticing. But of course, yes, we want to streamline these vacant land sales. We want to make sure that people get a fair deal, get a fair price. But what this really is about is developers screaming foul and saying we want everything for ourselves. Kawhi, so what do you think?
Yeah, you know, I wholeheartedly agree with you. It does really seem like when you're black, you can't catch a break. You can't, especially here in the city. And that's how I always kind of see it. So, you know, I'm like you were kind of saying, I'm glad they're kind of streamlining, excuse me, this process. But at the same time, it's still a little fishy.
A little bit. Story number two, a U.S. district judge in Boston has upheld Harvard's admissions process following a challenge from a group representing Asian American applicants who believed the school discriminated against them. Judge Allison Burroughs ruled Tuesday that while Harvard's admission process is not perfect, she will not dismantle a very fine admissions program that passes constitutional muster solely because it could do better. She had a 130-page opinion stressing that race-conscious admissions hold an important place in society and help ensure that colleges and universities can offer a diverse atmosphere that fosters learning, improves scholarship, and encourages mutual respect and understanding. Here's the bottom line. I believe they sent the Asians to come for the black people, right? Because here it is. The Asians said, look, you know, we're getting these great grades, and we have black people who have grades that are not as good as ours, and they're getting in and we're not, because you are using other standards that place them above us in the ranking system, right? You're looking at them in a holistic way and not just based on their grades, to which I only say, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with looking at somebody in a holistic way and not just based on their grades? What's wrong with trying to create a diverse environment in a place that has traditionally been racist? What's wrong with that? See, if we begin to divide ourselves, and we already have, as people of color, right? If whatever that phrase means, then it's easier to pick us off, one group at a time. And I think that is what's happening with this. I think this is going to be appealed. They're trying to get it to the Supreme Court, and they're trying to dismantle affirmative action, Coesa.
Yeah, I'm not here for it. Like,
Yep,
I'm really
yep.
not here for it. I think, and the bigger piece is that when you look at affirmative action, one of the reasons was because, you know, we had those same type of qualifications as other folks, but we weren't getting in because of the color of our skin. And so, you know, we need these types of rules and regulations in place in order for us to succeed and to get ahead like everybody else. And it's supposed to equal or level the playing field, I guess I should say. And so, you know, I don't appreciate the fact that they're trying to dismantle affirmative action, because we already know that the system is set up against us. So I just, you know, I hope that it doesn't get, you know, shut down.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, because this fight is not over. Black folks win this round. We'll see what happens going forward. And that brings me to story number 3. Yesterday, when I learned that Amber Geiger, a white former Dallas police officer, was found guilty of murder for killing a black man named Botham Jean in his own apartment, I said a single word: good. But a single word can't explain what it feels like to experience unexpected justice. Maybe that's why when the verdict was announced, Botham Jean's mother stood up in the courtroom, spread her arms in a posture of praise, and opened her mouth to speak in a voice that only God could hear. I don't know what she said, but I understand what it means to depend on God for justice. That's what black Americans have learned to do when it comes to police killings, because we rarely get justice from the system, even in a case like Botham Jean's. The 26-year-old was alone at home last September when Amber Geiger, then a Dallas police officer, walked into his apartment and shot him dead. She claimed she thought she was in her own place and that she thought John was a burglar. I never believed that. Even if the apartment was dark, as she claimed, wouldn't it smell different? Wouldn't the furniture be arranged differently? Wouldn't she know after a moment or two that she was in the wrong place? But even with a story that didn't make sense, Geiger was a white woman, and American history is stained by the blood of black men who've been falsely accused of harming white women. Emmett Till was lynched after a white woman lied about their interaction in a store. The Central Park Five were falsely accused of raping a white woman and spent 13 years in jail. But Amber Geiger was more than a white woman. She was a cop, and cops are rarely punished for killing black people. That's why people got nervous when the judge told the jury they could consider a type of stand-your-ground law in determining Geiger's guilt. In the end, that didn't matter, though. The jury delivered justice. Botham was the best that we had to offer, said Benjamin Crump, a lawyer representing the family. 26-year-old college-educated black man, certified public accountant, working for one of the big 3 accounting firms in the world. But it shouldn't take all of that for unarmed black and brown people in America to get justice, Crump said. I agree with that. It shouldn't take that much. But this is a start, to which I can only say one word: good. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Where were you when Amber Geiger was found guilty of murdering Botham Jean in his own apartment? What do you think about that? Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Also, the president was talking about building a moat around the wall, right? This boy really think it's 1654. He wants to build a moat around the wall, put alligators and snakes in the moat, put spikes on top of the wall that could tear human flesh, and he wants soldiers to shoot migrants in the legs. Is this dude Donald Trump or Dr. Evil? I mean, it makes me think about, like, the movies where Dr. Evil is like, yeah, we need sharks with friggin' lasers on their heads. Like, he that type of dude. Like, he's crazy. I want to know what you think about that. Because, I mean, in all seriousness, if you're talking about doing that to them, what you going to do to us? See, that's my thing. My thing is like, look, I'm looking at, okay, so you're saying all these things about these other people, these brown people, right? What are you willing to do to us? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. And, of course, the Harvard affirmative action case, that is big news this morning. Black folks won this round, but they are not going to stop. I want to know what you think about that, where you are on that, because the bottom line is that you have folks trying to keep our people out of the best colleges. And if we can't get into those colleges, that affects our life chances for success down the line. It affects our children and our children's children. Education is a key to making it in this society. And if you can freeze black people out, then you can decrease our chances of succeeding. Let's go to the phone lines. Haraya from Ardmore is on line 1. Good morning, Haraya.
Yes, good morning, Solomon. How dare any entity object to getting blacks ahead, or getting not ahead, their righteous due, because what was used in the past was affirmative action for whites, denying blacks. So it's not, you're not giving blacks anything. You're only balancing out what should not have been done in the first place. You actually denied blacks from getting into college. The other thing, America one day is going to have to confront and accept the issue that what was done to us was criminal. And anybody that does not rebuke it or object to it will have to accept the fact that you're an accessory to a crime. So, you know, you're going along with what happened in slavery and whatnot, then you're an accessory. So that's my 2 cents for today.
All right. Thank you, Haraya. I appreciate your comment today on WURD. Let's go to Red Fox from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Red Fox.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning, brother.
I woke up with your cold, too. I'm way on the other side of West Philly.
Oh, wow. I gave it to you, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, good hope for you and Queen Croatia.
Thank you.
In the wake of all this stuff happening, it's really a whole lot of stuff happening, and it affects everybody. It's like you said, Donald Trump is trying to build the wall, build some medieval stuff. You know what I'm saying? In the modern day time.
Yeah.
That is the craziest stuff. That could be nothing but pure evil. You know? And we know them alligators and all that stuff, they put that in the water for us. They churn the water for the black slaves. So your mind is right there. When you talk about alligators and stuff like that, you're back in slavery when they did that to our kids. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that's evil.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You turn the books down when it comes to that. People don't even want to talk about that. You can go in any classroom anywhere around the world. I don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about that because it affects us directly.
Yeah.
It affects us directly. So now we look at the girl again in the case where she came in and shot the man, right?
Yeah.
Let's forget about color. They shot the man. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we look at a black and white thing, and it permeates us. You understand? So let's look at that she shot a man in his house. If you're not protected in your house, if a judge say that you can use the Castle case, right? We're not thinking. We're not thinking. You know?
I hear you, man, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go back to the phone lines and let's talk to Bahia on line 1 from West Philly. Go ahead, Bahia.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Solomon, didn't I tell you that Rudy Giuliani was married to his cousin? Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, he was. He was married to his second cousin. Yeah, that's crazy.
But anyway, it's crazy. Anyway, affirmative action, they've been trying to knock it down for a minute. First, it was the girl from Texas University. Remember the white girl from Texas University?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
They knocked it down a little bit, and now she was a Republican. Now they sitting the Republican, Chinese, Asian people in to knock it down some more. It's gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone. I think they're gonna get rid of it. Seriously, they're trying. They hard. And they knocked something down with that girl. Now they sent them in there. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Because they know it's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Yep. Well, that's what the whole thing with the Supreme Court was about. That's why when Barack Obama had a nominee for the Supreme Court, they wouldn't even give him a hearing in the Senate. The Republicans controlled the Senate. They wouldn't give him a hearing in the Senate because they on the off chance that a Republican would win the White House, they knew that they could stack the Supreme Court and knock down all kinds of stuff, including affirmative action. And so this has been a long strategy. We have to learn how to play the long game.
Yeah, we do. We really do. And they're winning. They really are. Like, people better open their eyes up. Because just like you said, they come for them Spanish. Who do you think they're coming at after next?
Yeah.
Saying, I forget how to say it. They came for you. Then I looked around and there was nobody there, and they came for me. You know what they're saying?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I'm telling you, people better wisen up. They think it's a joke.
Yeah, they do. And I want to thank you so much, Bahia, for your call. We got to go to break. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WRD. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters,
Don't miss The Source
weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This can be traced back to our founder, Gottlieb Dietz, who learned how to make franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, each one of our delicious offerings is meticulously crafted using perfected details. Because if it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. To us, the details make all the difference.
WordRadio.com.
Wincoat Wellness is changing the way the world ages by redefining home care. Wincoat Wellness makes it possible to achieve independent living through companion care. If you or someone you know has a loved one who is in need of home care services, the enrollment process is seamless. Give them a call at 215-277-5914 to begin enrollment with their dedicated team or home care associates, and before you know it, you'll be receiving care. Call now, 215-277-5914.
Now, a traffic update
On Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Busy ride, Schuylkill Expressway eastbound, generally from 202 right into Belmont against City through Spring Garden, westbound Jim Fair to south. Again, the Boulevard, heavy out through Gulf Mills, generally slow. Westbound Vine, 8th out through Brodigan Parkway through the Schuylkill, slow. Southbound Boulevard, Route 1, delays 9th Street through Wissahickon Avenue, again Ridge Avenue and through 76. Southbound 95, that's a jam. Cotman through Girard, northbound, no major problems there this morning. 55 northbound, Deptford in the 42-year jam. 42 northbound, that's a jam ride from College Drive right up through 295. We have a couple of accidents that were quickly cleared in that delay. One near approaching 55 and one just past 55, but they've both been cleared. But again, a big jam northbound 42 into Philadelphia, Ben Franklin Bridge building a bit on the downside of Center City.
Use your power to cure and pedal with a purpose at Spin for Crohn's and Colitis Cures. Grab some friends to join you for this high-energy indoor cycling event benefiting the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Visit spin4.org to learn more.
For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio
96.1 FM.
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD, and I am racked with guilt this morning. Every time I look across the console at Kuwait, I'm like, oh, man, she got it too. Oh, no. I'm sorry.
I just want to know, how bad did it get? Did it?
Well, it didn't get that bad because what I tend to do, the only thing was like my sinuses closed up. Like, so you don't have air conditioning on high or anything like that because that's going to make your sinuses worse. But it didn't get that bad. I think when I went home that first day and just rested the whole day, that kind of knocked it out. So, I mean, the main thing is rest. That's the main thing. You're going to have to go home and lay down and stay in the bed. All right? That's what you're going to have to do.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So 215-634-8065 is the number. We are in the sick house. So we want to hear from you. Give us a call. We're talking about a number of things this morning, including your president, who said he wanted to build a moat around the border wall. Like, this dude been watching too many movies about, like, knights and all of that. Like, this dude is crazy, right? So he wants to build a moat around the border wall and put alligators and snakes in it, right? And it's funny because Red Fox kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but that's something that that they used to do. They used to actually, throw black folks, children really, into the water with alligators. And so it's something that, again, harkens back to a time of brutality and racism where, he's trying to take us back to that. And on the surface, it's like, wow, this dude is crazy. It seems funny, but when you really think about it, this is something that we have seen historically. It's something we've seen done to black people. And so if they can do it to them, who's next? I believe it's us. And so that is why it's our issue, in my view. Now, I know there are those who believe it's not our issue. This is not about us. We are citizens of this country, etc. But after they get them, who they coming for next? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. The president wanted to build a moat around the wall with alligators and snakes in it, put spikes on top to tear human flesh, and tell soldiers to shoot them in the legs to slow them down. Who's next? 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines, talk to Sonny from South Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Sonny.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Hey, Solomon, I didn't see the trial of the girl that killed the young man, but I'd like to know from the audience and from you the opinion of the black judge, how she act. I seen a part in there. Once she start crying, the judge closed it down and said, we're going to have a little break or something like that. You know what I mean? I want to know, I think to me, the part that I seen that the judge was kind of like, like something of the song of the South, Save the Little White Girl. I'd like to know the opinion of how they felt. That,
yeah, I didn't see the whole trial, Sonny.
Yeah, well, I'm only saying maybe somebody, this was a pretty big trial. I like
it was.
The opinion of the judge, because when it comes to us, when it comes to them, they have a black judge, and then she starts acting like she's got to fix her dress and she's got to do this here to me. That's all.
So what is your opinion, Sonny?
My opinion, I think when I seen her, the judge, she acted like somebody in there, like somebody got a Butterfield McQueen, the part that she played, like in other words, shuffling and jiving,
Okay.
The little white girl. So other opinion, besides mine, somebody seen more than I see.
All right, Sonny. Well, the thing that I objected to in the trial was when the judge told the jurors that they could consider the castle doctrine. Now, I've seen some lawyers say, look, she had to tell them, everything that they could consider according to the law, but I just felt like that wasn't a law that applied in this case because she was not in her house. The castle doctrine is about being able to use deadly force to protect your own house. She was not in her own house. She claimed she thought she was in her own house, which I have never believed. But since she wasn't in her own house, how does that apply? That's the one thing that I had a problem with that the judge did in the trial. I didn't see her shut it down when a woman started crying or anything like that. If you did, I want to hear from you. You give us a call. Let us know how you felt about that. But the one thing that I objected to was approving the use of the castle doctrine in considering whether or not this woman was guilty or innocent. I want to know what you think. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's go to Miss Marie from West Philly on line 3. Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. I am so glad that you're doing much better
Thank you.
really need rest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My doctors told me you have to slow it down,
Yeah.
okay? You can do the work, but slow the body down.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, I did not see the trial, but I've been, been reading it and hearing you and just every day, but I don't call all the time. But anyway, I felt like the judge, when she said what she did, I had read something about that years ago when I was in school, and I didn't appreciate it, but I'm so glad that the Almighty answered the question, okay? And that's what they need to continue to do, regardless of the pigmentation of your skin. If you're a lawyer or a judge, do the right thing, because that's why we're in the position that we're in, because the people have no backs. They have backs and spines, but they're weak because they're all doing some of the same thing. They're birds of a feather, and they're flocking together. So, but like I said, the Almighty's going to do what He's doing in His time, and I will be here when He really brings them down. So blessed to everyone. Stay healthy, and we're going to keep holding on to God's unchanging hand.
Amen.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. And let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. A moat around the border wall filled with alligators and snakes. And at first, it's funny until you think back to the stories about the time of enslavement and even after, when they would take black children and throw them into the water with alligators, right? And so, and call them gator bait, right? This is the type of racist cruelty that really harkens back to things that were done to us. And so when you start talking about doing that to other folks, how long does it take before you circle back around to us? Is this our problem? That's the question that I really want to get down to with our folks. Is the immigration issue our problem? Is it our issue? Because I know some of us believe it's not, and I want to hear that argument. But I believe that if you stand by and allow this to happen to other people, how long is it before it circles back around to you? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we're talking about on this morning's show. Abana Higgins does not agree with me. He's on Facebook. He says this: you give Donald Trump too much power. How many hours a day are you going to talk about Donald Trump? We already know he's crazy. Saying it over and over again is just a little bit much to me. Too many other important things that we can actually affect that's going on. Okay, Abana, call in and let me know what they are. All right, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. One thing that's happening locally, of course, and it's one of our big three stories, is the attempt by City Council to change the way that vacant land sales are handled by the city. There have been several people who've gotten a hookup from folks who are on council, and you know what? Okay. That happened. How many white people got hookups? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Why is it only an issue when black folks get hookups? And I just need to say it. I need to say it because it seems to me that there is a bias, right, when it comes to how these things are handled, how these things are reported, how these stories are told, how these people are portrayed. I think that the black council people who are in city council, in district seats, really need to focus on their base. Because here's what happens. When you deal with the developers, right, nothing is ever enough. They want it all. And eventually they want you out. And so you have to make sure that the one thing that you have, right, that's going to keep you in office is secure. And guess what that one thing is? Votes. And so you need to be dealing with the people. You need to be dealing with our people. You need to be dealing with the new folks who are moving in, and stop kowtowing to the developers, because the bottom line is, after a while, if you don't give them every single thing that they want, every vacant lot that they want, every property that they want, they're going to get you out. You know, that's what I see happening politically. I see these communities gentrifying, right? And you know, if you're in bed with the developers and you help them to gentrify the community, well, after a while, your voters are gone, and you're gone too. I want to know what you think. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. Let's go to Rose from Winfield on line 1. Go ahead, Rose.
Good morning, Kawisa and Solomon.
Good morning.
I just want to say, first of all, I don't think we should get too overjoyed about this verdict, because from what I'm understanding, she could get anywhere from 2 to 99 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we wait and see what the sentence is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Trump is concerned, that man is not crazy. He's crazy like a fox.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants us to think he's crazy so he can do all of these asinine things that he says and keep our eye on what he's talking about, where we should keep our eye on what he does. But when he was running for president, there was a white woman, I fail to remember her name, but she came out early and said that she worked for him, and on his desk is a picture of Hitler. He kept a picture of Hitler at all times on his desk. So he idolizes all these people that are dictators. So I think Trump, you know, when he does do some of the things that he alludes to, he says that the people want this and whatever, and then when he does it, we act shocked. But I don't think we should be shocked. He tells you who he is every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to just keep our minds on the prize, and that's getting him out of there, because if that man gets a second term, this country will never recover. He's going to do all the things, and he would like to have martial law. He would like to be kicking folk behind anybody of color. So we gotta do what we gotta do. And the people that their candidate doesn't win, that takes up their marbles and go home and stay, don't vote, they're going to have a rude awakening if that man wakes up to be the president the second term. All of our, the things that the government provides as far as city, state, and whatever, he's going to take that away. And people are going to be in pure poverty and living in hell. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Just a slight correction. Amber Geiger faces anywhere from 5 to 99 years in jail. So the very least she could get would be 5 years in jail on this murder conviction. We are going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue our conversation. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters,
Don't miss The Source
weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
When is the last time your doctor spent time with you, listening to your concerns and answering your questions? Do you feel like your doctor and their staff truly care about you and your health? Let me tell you about my visit to dedicated senior medical centers. First, they focus exclusively on senior health care. Second, the doctors spend more time with their patients because when they know you better, they can help you feel your best. They've even partnered with Philabundance to help seniors determine if they qualify for free monthly food boxes. They truly care about their patients. They also offer services like door-to-doctor transportation, on-site lab work and medications, acupuncture, and weekly health and wellness classes. So, if you or a loved one are Medicare eligible and you'd like the time and attention you deserve from your doctor, call Dedicated Senior Medical Center to schedule a free tour. Call 267-443-1900. That's 267-443-1900. Dedicated Senior Medical Centers.
Oak Street Health and Caregivers America invite you to attend CEFN's inaugural Senior Harvest Ball on Friday, October 25th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Hilton Hotel, 4200 City Ave. For ticket information, contact Sherry Hill at 215-858-4957.
Be heard.
Be heard.
Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
Using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media. Word Show on the go.
Tell us where you'd like to see the Rapping Professor Dr. Aaron Smith bring the Word Show on the Go team next. Visit wordradio.com. Click the Word Show on the Go banner and let us know about your community event, big news in your community, or an issue you'd like to see addressed. You can also catch up on the latest episode of Word Show on the Go or binge watch previous episodes. It's Word Show on the Go with the Rapping Professor Dr. Aaron Smith, exclusively on wordradio.com. Word Show on the Go is funded in part by the Facebook Journalism Project Community Network.
We filmed Pennsylvania adoptive families and asked them why more people need to become foster or adoptive parents.
As a society, we have a responsibility to make sure every kid gets from being a kid to being a responsible adult.
I would encourage anybody to do it. You get so much more out of it than you expect.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by HHS's Health Resources and Service Administration, HRSA. Now, traffic pretty jammed still both ways. Schuylkill Expressway east and westbound, now a heavy ride. Busy on the Vine eastbound, Schuylkill through Broad westbound. That's busy from 8th Street right out through, generally through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, your jam Cotman through Girard northbound. Busy now north of the airport through Island Avenue. Looking at the Boulevard, Route 1 southbound, 9th through Wissahickon, Ridge Avenue into 76. That is the jam. Platte Bridge eastbound, that jam's midspan through 26 at Penrose. Just some heavy volume there this morning. 55 northbound, Deptford in the 42 jam. 42 north, Blackwood coming to the 295 heavy. 295 delay both ways into 42 Ben Franklin Bridge. Getting busy now midspan into Center City. September 15th through October 15th is National Hispanic Heritage Month. When you sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor, you have a chance to let your legacy and the good in you live on. Learn more today at organdonor.gov. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. I want to hear from you. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. So it's a couple of things going on this morning. One, the New York Times is reporting that the president wanted to build a moat around the wall, right? Like it was a castle or something. Like this is like Dungeons and Dragons, like, you know, and put alligators and snakes in it. And at first it's like, wow, that's kind of funny. This dude is nuts. But then when you think about it, it really reminds me of the stories you heard about what happened during and after slavery, when they would take black children, black babies, throw them into gator-infested waters and call them gator bait, right? If they can do these things to them, who do you think is next, right? And so is it our issue or is it not? And I know many of us think, look, this is not our issue. We are not immigrants. They come in here, they taking our jobs anyway. They are harming our community. They're a danger to us. They're a threat to us. Well, if they can do these things to them, then who do you think is next? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. President said build a moat around the wall, put alligators and snakes in it, put spikes on top of the wall that could tear human flesh, and if they run, shoot them in the legs to slow them down. These are the things that he's saying should be done to these people. Who do you think is next? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. Kawesa, when you hear these things, I mean, it's alarming for a number of reasons, but I think about us. I think about black folks.
Yeah, I do. I think about black folks too, and that's why, I'm always, very much a staunch advocate for, making sure that everyone has equal rights and everyone is treated fairly under the law. I mean, and so you might not agree with, people who are of the LGBTQ community. You might not agree, but at the same time, you don't want for their rights to get taken, because the next thing that happens is it comes right back to us, and that's the same thing what I think about with the whole immigration, situation as well. Like, as soon as they take them out, they're going to come right back to us, and that's how I see it. And so that's really the way of this land, and it's unfortunate. It really is.
I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. So we're talking about that, and also the fact that Amber Geiger has been found guilty of murder. She faces anything from 5 to 99 years in prison. What are your thoughts? 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. Let's go to Jerry from West Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I hope everybody be feeling better after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, 45, we know straight up the man is crazy. And, yes, what's going to end up happening that if you don't turn out to be totally white like he think he is, then everybody's going to be eliminated. The second one about the murder, about the cop became for the murder, straight up, I'm not rallying. I'm not, I'm glad that it came down the way it did, but I'm not going to hold no party and all that kind of stuff, because we're not supposed to celebrate that. Affirmative action. What do these people think that affirmative action, it didn't just open the door for us, but anybody else after that? They need to leave it alone. Just like I hear somebody keep on talking about we need to change something else. One thing I can say about the forefathers is that they had vision. They made the laws back then, but it applies for today. So anything that is in the, I can't think of it now, we need to leave things alone. You know what I'm saying? Legal laws and stuff that was made back then, affirmative action, leave all that alone, okay? Sorry, I can't think of that one that the lady called about. We need to change that, too. No, we don't. We need to leave it alone. They made and put in a place for a reason.
All right. All right.
You have a good day.
Thank you, and I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Steve from Hainesport, New Jersey, on line 2. Go ahead, Steve.
Thanks, Mr. Jones, for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Real quickly, you've done something here in Philadelphia that I like. You want to hold the police accountable for their actions. No politician, whether Democrat or Republican, has mentioned this. So my thing is this. We got to hold these people put to the fire. We got to tell them what we want and what, things that we need.
Yeah.
And getting back to the case of the, the immigrants, I have no problem with immigrants coming over, the Mexicans. Or they're nothing but Indians, really American citizens. But my thing is, should the taxpayers put a bill for them coming over? That's my whole thing. And I'll just sit back and listen to what you have to say.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that you raise a good point. And, it comes down to what we are willing to do in order to balance the scales. Because, America is based on greed. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, they revolted. They didn't revolt because they felt like, oh, they're treating us so terrible. They revolted because they didn't want to pay taxes. Like, that really, America's based on greed. It's a capitalistic system. And so my question is this. If we don't want people coming here from Central America, are we willing to change our policies in Central America that created the situations that these people are in that make them so impoverished that they are willing to travel thousands of miles, risk life and limb, do everything they can to get out? Right? And so I think it's a simple explanation. I think there's a simple solution. I think part of what has to be done is that companies that are here in America need to invest in these countries in Central America. So send some factories and some jobs there, because the bottom line, they come in because they want to work. They want to work and they want to be safe. Invest in those countries so that A, American businesses make money, and B, these people have the impetus to stay in their own country. If you don't want them here, then invest in their country and make it attractive for them to stay here. You don't need a moat with alligators and snakes in it. You don't need spikes on top of a fence. You don't need soldiers shooting people in the leg. What you need is economic investment in those countries so that those people stay there and both sides benefit from that arrangement. That's what you got to do. You know what I mean? So all this other stuff to me is stupid. Right? Because we all would benefit if we had American companies that could do better by putting factories in some of these places. They make money, the people get jobs, they get to stay there, and we get to not have a wall with a moat around it with alligators in it. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, that's the way to go. You know, and that way it's not on the taxpayers either. So, I just think that we have to be willing to think outside the box. We have to be willing to come up with solutions that make sense for everybody. We have to be willing to do things that don't just benefit us, but also benefit other people, so it's a win-win and everybody gets what they want. I think that's the answer to it. But, I'm just a radio host. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Erica from Chicago on line 3. Go ahead, Erica.
Good morning, Solomon and Kuwaisa.
Good morning.
I think your cold is trying to come my way. Not.
Oh, no, you got it too? Oh, no.
I'm trying.
Oh, no.
I'm so funny. And I'm taking an overdose. But I just wanted to say, one, you got to talk about Trump because it's your job. You talk about politics. We can't be blissfully ignorant. Two, the Amber Geiger situation, I was like in the middle about to dismiss, and I was like, yes. I'm so glad because I did not know. The way it was looking, it looked like it was going to go in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful. I hope she don't get 40 months and that she really, get held accountable for her actions and not like a slap on the wrist. Third, when it comes to the whole affirmative action case, if I'm not mistaken, the little information that I do know about it, the lawyers behind this are not even Asian. They're white people who are pushing this agenda and trying to use, to cause division among people of color.
Yep.
And I said, we got to be very, very strategic, critically think, and really look at the why behind the what. And then the last thing is we have to stand up. Like America has tried to treat us like an illegitimate child, but the reality is that we have DNA in this country, and we can say the things and really be a face for injustice in this country, point blank, period. And we cannot allow bitterness and the trauma of our situation to cause us to be silent. We have to honor humanity, point blank, period. And it's funny because even this morning, really quick, I was reading a couple of scriptures this morning, and really big as a day. If you hate your brother, you are a murderer.
Yeah.
So, Trump, he really had to get his life. The fruit of his life and the things that he's doing is inhumane. And I'm praying for justice in that situation, that he really be brought to task for the stuff that he's doing. America has a wake-up call and got to really deal with some stuff.
Amen.
So, I'm with you. Have a great one.
Thank you so much, Erica. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Lord, they getting it in Chicago. Be well, get better. Do what you got to do. And I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065, of course, is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I am Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Vital Signs, Wednesdays on Reality Check with Charles Ellison, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. right here on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on WordRadio.com.
Mark your calendars for Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church's anti-human trafficking 5K walk run on October 5th. The walk will start at 8 a.m. at Memorial Hall, West Fairmount Park. For another way to participate, to make a donation, text Enon Tab to 77977. For more information, visit enontab.org. Enon, a place where people encounter God. Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller, Senior Pastor.
I've had some.
Live Nation presents Friday, February 14th, 2020, Boys to Men at the Met Philadelphia. Valentine's Day, February 14th, Boys to Men will be home for a special night at the Met Philadelphia. Local presale begins Thursday, October 3rd from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. All tickets on sale Friday, October 4th at 10 a.m. Make it a great night out with your special sweetheart. Valentine's Day, February 14th, Boys to Men at the Met Philadelphia. For more information or to purchase tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com or WordRadio.com and click on the Boys to Men banner.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Drive in
with Solomon Jones.
Drive home
with Charles Ellison.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Philadelphia, independent black media. Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by HHS's Health Resources and Service Administration, HRSA. Now, traffic pretty jammed still both ways. Schuylkill Expressway east and westbound. Now a heavy ride. Busy on the Vine eastbound. Schuylkill through Broad westbound. That's busy from 8th Street right out through, generally through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, you're jammed Cotman through Girard northbound. Busy now north of the airport through Island Avenue. Looking at the Boulevard Route 1 southbound, 9th through Wissahickon Bridge Avenue to 76. That is a jam. Platte Bridge eastbound. That jam's midspan through 26 at Penrose. Just some heavy volume there this morning. 55 northbound, Deptford in the 42 jam. 42 north, Blackwood coming to the 295 heavy. 295 delay both ways into 42 Ben Franklin Bridge. Getting busy now midspan into Center City. September 15th through October 15th is National Hispanic Heritage Month. When you sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor, you have a chance to let your legacy and the good in you live on. Learn more today at organdonor.gov. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
What we saw was misconduct by police. As Malcolm X said, American democracy is nothing but disguised hypocrisy. If you did see the video and you did nothing, you need to go.
And now, Lynn Washington, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. And we are back with Lynn Washington. Lynn Washington, of course, is a professor of journalism at Temple University. He is the co-creator of the Multimedia Urban Reporting Lab. In addition to his Temple degrees, Washington holds a law degree from Yale University. Lynn, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Everything's good. Woke in a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. This is crazy. Yo, the president wants to build a moat around the wall, Lynn, with alligators and snakes in it.
Yeah, more of his just nonsense that comes up out of his mind 2, 3, 4 times a day. But, well, let's just leave that one aside, man.
Okay. You self-editing? Are you self-editing right now?
Well, I want to make sure that your station keeps the lights on here. You know this FCC will come in and take it away.
Yeah, how about that?
Just the practicality of that is just crazy. So are we going to build this moat around the wall in the desert Southwest, in Texas and Arizona, New Mexico? Where are you going to get the water from? And then what are you going to do? Go down to Florida and go into, say, Jeffrey Epstein's now vacant mansion down there, take alligators out the backyard, and then bring them down and put them in the moat? This is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the people, it's one thing for Trump to come up with this. It's another thing for the people around him to aid and abet this.
Yeah.
And you're talking about people who, are supposed to have high values and moral principles and everything. Well, if you can't change this idiot's mind, then it's incumbent upon you to walk away and maybe do it with a letter. We always talk about or think about what other people in other countries do. At one point, the Japanese had a thing when they did something dishonorable, Harry, they killed themselves.
Yeah.
With a sword. Do it honorably, but it's not being done, and that's when we have this craziness. And that New York Times article is really interesting. It's really long, but it really shows the bickering that goes on in the efforts to placate this guy.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the president, but, rein it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can still have your impact on the base as if his base is the only thing in America.
Yeah, all of it is crazy. All of it is crazy. We'll see what happens. We want to talk about some of the other stuff that's going on in America, and especially this Harvard case, Lynn. The Harvard case that where you had a group of Asians saying that they were being discriminated against in favor of black people with affirmative action. It's a case that really is centered on affirmative action. What do you think about that case, Lynn? Walk us through it.
Well, a couple of things. One, let's immediately recognize the weasel in the woodpile. It's a guy named Bloom. He's a lawyer. He's been trying to attack affirmative action, particularly in colleges, for years. He has attempted to do it through white people, say with the University of Texas, I think was the most recent one. And when those cases did not succeed, then he glammed on to the Asians. Well, let me get the Asians, and that might change the racial dynamic in terms of how the court sees it. Numbers-wise, Asians are about 26% of the people admitted into Harvard. African Americans, 13%. Hispanics, a little less than 12%. Native Americans, who clearly have been discriminated against from the time that the Europeans set foot on this continent, along with Native Hawaiians. Yeah, America went in and stole Hawaii, 2.2%. So the Asians, just numerically, are not being discriminated against. But what we're seeing there is the long and incessant efforts to eliminate affirmative action. That's what this is, clearly, straight up. We lose at the district court level. Whatever happens at the appeals court level, it's going to go up to the Supreme Court, and therein lies the conundrum, because, we have a very conservative Supreme Court now.
Yeah.
Which is quite typical of the way that court has been all along. The rulings in the 60s, particularly not the 60s, but from the 50s and the 60s and the early 70s, were anomalies. They were, they were the exception to the rule in terms of how the Supreme Court goes. So this is an attack on affirmative action, clear.
And it's not really Asians behind it. They're being used by this other dude, Bloom, who has been doing this for years.
Yes, and being used willingly.
Yeah.
So they'll say, "Oh, well, we don't know how we got here." You know how you got here. You are being used, and you are playing into it. And this is really dangerous. We need affirmative action. There's a lot of talk in our community about reparations. We deserve some recompense for the discrimination, legalized segregation, and slavery that we've endured.
Yeah.
It's really forgotten, and it's forgotten because it's like really obscured, like in footnotes. In the court rulings, in the court cases that led up to Brown versus the board, okay, and the NAACP ran a very, very strategic strategy in terms of how they went through different cases in different colleges and everything to knock out this legalized apartheid that we had in there. But from after World War II to the Brown versus board in 1954, you started seeing something popping up in the government's arguments saying that we need to do something about legalized segregation in the United States. The government had recognized, when I say the government, the federal government, they had recognized that legalized segregation, apartheid in America, was creating an embarrassment in the world. And because of that, Russia, who was our mortal enemy then, and China, who was emerging as our enemy, were able to win support and recognition in countries that were colonialized by the Europeans, and we're getting rid of that colonialism. So the federal government was saying, hey, if we don't change, we're going to lose this ideological war against Russia and China.
Mm-hmm.
And the court started saying, yeah, maybe you're right. So it wasn't a change of heart. It was a political decision that they knew that unless they changed this stuff, that it would create problems for America, not only in the political and ideological sphere, but in the economic spheres too. So it wasn't about us, it was about them. That's why they changed it. And they also knew that they could change the law, but they didn't change the reality, and that's what we've seen. Schools today are more segregated, or as segregated today as they were in 1954. That's why we have, say, like a Ben Franklin High School, we have asbestos is closing the schools, because the state legislature is not giving up the money that they should, so this Philadelphia can get better schools.
You know, it's a deep thing when you think about affirmative action. You think about education. It is the great leveler, right, of the playing field. It gets your foot in the door, and then it's up to you after that. But if you can destroy education, and you can keep black children out and black young people out of the best schools, the best universities, well, then you lessen their chances of competing in an increasingly competitive world.
Absolutely, and that's why, that was one of the reasons why the NAACP in the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s fought so hard to attack this apartheid, because they knew that once you had education, like you said, it's the great leveler.
Yeah.
Once you get that education, they can't take it away from you. That's why during slavery they didn't want to teach black people how to read.
Mm-hmm.
It was a crime that could put you in jail.
That's right.
To teach black people how to read. And so, you know, education is important, and diversity in education is important. So you get to know people, you get to know different things and see different sides of things. One of the reasons why the courts make some of these wacky decisions that seem to be in variance of reality is because the people who are making those decisions, not just the judges, but the judges' law clerks, people fresh out of law school that come to work for a judge and help the judge make these, do the legal research to make these decisions, there's a lack of diversity there. They have no clue about what's going on in the world outside of their immediate spheres.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I remember an exchange that I had with a white student from Tennessee.
Okay.
When I was in law school, and they had constitutional law. So throughout the whole semester of constitutional law, they dealt with all of the civil rights issues in 1 week. 2 classes during 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a white kid, summa cum laude graduate from Vanderbilt or whatever. I hate Jesse Jackson because he made me ride a bus with this integration. I had to ride a bus to school. And I'm sitting there listening to this stuff, man, and it's like, Glenn, sit down. Don't go up and smack this boy.
Mm-hmm.
Do a Malcolm X. Smack him in the brain. Don't smack him in the face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I said, listen, let me understand something. You lived in a rural area, right? Yes, I did. Yeah. So you would have ridden the bus to school anyway, whether it was busing to achieve integration or busing just to get your backside to school. Well, yeah. Then what's your argument against Jesse Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
School desegregation didn't have anything to do with you riding a bus because you lived 15 miles from the school.
Mm.
You know, but they get these narratives and notions in their head,
Yeah.
and even a college education can't shake it.
Mm.
So it's important to have people in there that look different. And let's understand, Harvard's admissions policy is being attacked for very cynical reasons. But how did that admissions policy come in place? They just didn't drop it down from the sky.
That's right.
It has evolved over time, and it has evolved over time in an effort to achieve diversity, in an effort to recognize that you were wrong in the past, and also to do it in conformance with court rulings and legislative policies. So, you know, this is just, like I said, this is an outright attack. And also let's remember, too, that when these attacks on college admissions take place in their policies, the affirmative action in college, they don't go after the legacy admissions.
Nope.
Where the universities reserve a certain number of seats for the children and offspring and the recommendations of people who go there, the alumni, and rich people. So even before the rich people have always been paying off folks, as you know, this admission scandal. But with these legacy admissions, that's why you could have a person like a George W. Bush, who was never considered a smart person,
Mm-hmm.
to get admitted to at Yale, where his grandfather and his father went and paid, gave a lot of money into the school. And then after he gets out of Yale, he gets into Harvard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you mean it's just so crazy, man. When you look back on all that stuff. The senator from Utah, Orrin Hatch, right? Big affirmative action opponent. You have to do it on your own. You know, this affirmative action is wrong. It creates opportunities for unqualified people. Well, Orrin Hatch went to the University of Pittsburgh's law school. And while he was attending law school, I worked my way through law school. Yeah, you worked your way through law school because your uncle was the head of the Plasterers Union, and he got you a job in the Plasterers Union.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mean to tell me, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, okay? You mean to say that there were not black people in that town that could plaster much better than an Orrin Hatch kid? That's nonsense.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Orrin Hatch benefited from structural racism, institutional racism, yet he turns around and says that doesn't exist and you have to do it on your own merit and affirmative action is wrong.
It's crazy.
We've had for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And then they deny it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's switch gears and talk about the verdict in the Amber Geiger case, because this is a rare win in a police case where race is a factor. Why did this one end in a conviction, Lynn?
I would just say an anomaly. It could have went either way. The evidence was overwhelming that this woman was just flat out wrong. I came into a dark apartment. I didn't know what was going on. I yelled, "Show your hands." Well, if the apartment is dark and you're yelling, "Show your hands," if the person has showed your hands, from your perspective, you couldn't have seen it anyway. But it was a dark apartment, although the guy was sitting in the apartment with his television on.
Right, so it couldn't have been all that dark.
It couldn't have been all that dark.
Right, and how did you shoot him center mass if it was so dark?
So dark. And the medical exam, I think a couple of things in terms of this. The witnesses said that they never heard the policewoman yell out these commands that she claimed that she yelled out. And also the medical examiner said that the bullet that killed him entered him in such a way that he was either sitting down and, just getting up from sitting down, thus he wasn't menacing her, and I feared for my life. Or they said that he was on the ground as if he was like begging not to be shot. So I think those two things weighed in the favor against the police officer, and that's why we have that verdict. But let's remember, right over the border in Oklahoma, what was it, a couple of years ago, a white female police officer shoots the guy on the street with his hands up.
That's right.
She
That's
gets
right.
acquitted, and then she gets a job with another police department. Out of Sacramento, where a young man was running through the yards, and he was in his grandmother's backyard, and he was shot. They get off.
Yeah.
There's this officer here in Philadelphia, Powell. Has he been tried yet?
Nope.
What about, quick trials, Rule 180, where you have to be tried within a certain number of days? It's been a couple of years. This dude pops up with a job at the Philadelphia Parking Authority that nobody knows how he got the job after working as a bartender at the FOP's bar. So, yeah, it's good to see that justice is done in this case for the family of the young man who was shot.
Yeah.
But this is not, like the dam's going to burst and police are going to be held accountable on that. Maybe I'm a little too cynical. I would like to see that happen. But history would indicate that may not be the course.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. That's Lynn Washington, Jr. He's a professor of journalism at Temple University, where he's a co-founder of the award-winning Multimedia Urban Reporting Lab. In addition to his Temple degrees, Washington holds a law degree from Yale University. Lynn, thanks so much.
Thanks, Salman. Have a good day, man.
Okay, you too. So I want to hear from you, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about this morning. We alluded to the president, the New York Times reporting that in some meetings, he said that he wanted to build a moat around the wall and put alligators and snakes in the moat, right? And that if the immigrants ran, he wanted soldiers to shoot them in the legs. He wanted all kinds of things that really, at first blush, it's like it's funny. It's like, wow, this dude is nuts. But then when you really think about it, it harkens back to a history in which they used to do those same things to black people. And so my question is, if you allow it to happen with them, how long is it before it gets to us? Somebody said in the forum that I moderated last night, somebody stood up and said, remember Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And it's true. It was true then. It's true now. It will always be true. It's a universal truth that if you allow these things to happen to other folk, then after a while it's going to happen to you. I want to know what you think. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. We are going to go to break. On the other side, we are going to go to Word on Business. We got an assistant here that has a business, and we're going to talk about how she got there, where she's going, and what she hopes to achieve. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a great paying part-time job with flexible hours, check out 2020 Census Jobs. You may have another job or not. You may even be retired or looking for some extra income, but you can also help make sure that everyone gets counted. So apply today at 2020census.gov/jobs to help strengthen your community.
This is Word Radio, independent black media.
JD's Auto Body and Painting is Philly's premier paint and body shop. So stop by for your free estimate and get your 10% Word discount today. They're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue. Give them a call at 215-848-5949 and visit them at JD'sAutoBodyAndPaintingInc.com.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work. Sorry, I'm late. Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working. Who, me? Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Now, a traffic update.
onWURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Dr. Patient Unity. Big jam southbound 95 Cotman Avenue down to Girard. Accident there being worked on. Big jam southbound 95 northbound. That is heavy from the airport through Island Avenue. Again from the Walt Whitman Bridge through the Vine Expressway. Westbound Vine busy. West of I-95 out through the Schuylkill Expressway generally slow. Looking at the Schuylkill both ways. You're jammed eastbound from 202. You're jammed there right through Conshohocken. Then east of that you're heavy again from City Avenue and through Spring Garden. Westbound side past Young to 30th Street. Jammed again the Boulevard out through Belmont. Southbound Blue Route. That's a big jam ride from Mid-County down through Norristown. Accident there off of the shoulder. That jam up actually goes back through the Northeast Extension. You're jammed. They're heading into the Mid-County tolls. 4255 in New Jersey. Heavy. Ben Franklin Bridge. You're jammed the length into Philadelphia. Surprise Medical Bills. Bankrupt Americans. Donald Norcross is standing up for patients and doctors, demanding insurance companies pay their fair share and supporting legislation that removes patients from billing disputes. Tell Donald Norcross thank you and keep fighting. Paid for by Dr. Patient Unity. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD, and we are back with Word on Business, and our guest is Pat Claybrook. She's the president and CEO of, how do you say this, Jadan or Jadan? How do you say it?
Jadan.
Jadan Cleaning, and an alum of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. She's joining us on the line also is Randy Brooks, Jr. He's Vice President, Small Business Banker at Bank of America. Randy, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
All right. Good to have you on. So Pat, we'll start with you. Where does the name come from? Where'd you get the name Jadan?
Everybody's always intrigued. My two daughters, Jillian and Danielle.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. I was like, wow, it must have some deep spiritual, mystic meaning. Okay, well, that's cool. And why did you think it was important to name it after them? I'm just curious in terms of legacy.
Well, when I decided to actually go down the path of becoming an entrepreneur, we had like a family meeting, and actually my father was the one who suggested that I look to name the business after the girls.
Yeah. And I look at that as something that's important in terms of having something that you can call your own, something that you can pass down. And I'm curious as to your decision to kind of put it out to the family and say, look, this is what I want to do. Why do you think that was important to do?
Because I come from a very close-knit family. It takes a village. And when you go from making a six-figure income with a free car, etc., and then you say, well, I'm going to open up my own business, that I needed that family support.
Yeah.
So it was important that we were all in.
Yeah, because I think that, and again, when you talk about taking that leap of faith, because it really is about that, some people I'm sure would say, look, you crazy, just take what you already have. It's a great thing that you have, and just stay with that. And I'm sure some people did say that to you.
Yes, they did. But as you said, I took a lot of. I went to my faith.
Yeah.
I make all my big decisions. I let God show me the way.
Mhm.
I knew that all the lights weren't going to be green at the same time, but
Right.
with Him behind me, and if I was doing it for the right reasons, there was no reason for me to not do it.
Amen. So in terms of what you were doing before, what were you doing before you decided to do this?
Before I started Jadan Cleaning, for many, many years, I was a pharmaceutical rep.
Okay.
And then I was the director of business development for a national hospice company where I had 12 reps that reported to me.
And so what was it about the corporate world that made you not want to stay there?
That's an interesting way you put that question. Well, it wasn't that I didn't want to stay there. I actually loved what I was doing, but I knew that I had a higher purpose, right? And I think that started with the fact that I wasn't born in this country. I immigrated here when I was 6 from Trinidad. And so it was always instilled in me that, to be successful, or what success looks like is to own your own business.
Okay.
To be the boss, right? And so I've always had that yearning, and in 2005 I went out on a leap of faith and started my business.
So 2005, an interesting time, and so you started the business. What were the hurdles that you had to deal with in order to start the business?
Oh, there are many hurdles, but it's all about preparation. So I started the business in 2005, but I didn't leave my full-time job until May of 2010. Right? So at that time, my husband and I had our 2 girls. We're both undergrad.
Yeah.
Right? So I wanted to ensure that I was going to be making as smooth a transition as possible. Right? So when I decided to actually pursue this, I sought assistance from the New Jersey Small Business Development Center. I Googled, how to start a business, how to start a cleaning business. What do you need? I've always raised my hand and sought advice.
Yeah.
We came up with a business plan, etc. So it's all about preparation and not just putting your shingle out just because you have a great idea.
Because a lot of great ideas with lack of preparation don't work.
That is correct. They're not successful.
Now, had you tried before to start a business, or had you done anything else entrepreneurial, or had you just focused solely on the corporate path that you were on?
No, I focused on the corporate path that I was on. And looking back, you'll laugh. The only entrepreneurial endeavor that I had pursued was when I was, I think, 11. I had a paper route.
Okay.
So I had my paper route, and then I decided that I was going to have my first employee, which was my brother. So I split my route in half and had him do half, and he'd give me the money, and I'd pay him. That was it.
Okay. All right, but you always had that bent. Now, where did that come from? Is it cultural, or was it something that your parents instilled in you? Where did that entrepreneurial spirit come from?
I think it's a twofold answer. Part of it was I saved from my dad, who came to this country a year before he sent for us, for his family, and to watch him move up the corporate ladder, where he started as the 3rd employee of a $1 billion company today to a VP of operations. And I saw his work ethic, but then also being a pharmaceutical rep, my physicians, at that time I think I was in my territory 10 years, and my physicians would complain about their offices being dirty even though they were paying for it to be clean, and how unprofessional the cleaning staff were. So that kind of put a bug in my ear that there was a need in the market for a professional cleaning company. And that's what started it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense. And I'm curious, were you able to use the connections that you had made in order to go back and say, well, if you're not satisfied with this cleaning company, we have some options for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I built my business and continue to build my business on relationships, right? So it was, and also on the sales skills that were instilled in me by the training that I received in pharmaceuticals. So I went to my physicians and and asked them questions. What was it that they weren't satisfied with? What do they think would make a better service for them, etc. And some of our first accounts were those physicians.
Okay. Okay. And so, having started the business in 2005, right? And you said something interesting. You said you didn't leave your full-time job until 2010. I'm thinking about what was happening during that time, specifically the financial crisis, right? Where you had people losing their homes, you had businesses folding, you had all kinds of stuff happening. Did that weigh into your decision to kind of stay and say, you know what, let me do this and stay here until this blows over?
Not really.
Okay.
Because my plan, because I wasn't deriving an income during that time from my business, I was putting everything back in to the business to prepare it for when I did run the business full time and needed that income replaced from my corporate job. So for those first 5 years, it was all about building a strong foundation, not just a financially strong foundation, but also all the other aspects of the business: marketing, human capital, everything that you need to make your business successful, to make it thrive and grow.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's interesting, because you had the opportunity to be able to do that because you had a full-time job. What would you say to those who don't necessarily have that and are trying to step out and start a business?
I would say utilize the resources that are here for you. There are many, many free resources for entrepreneurials today. A lot of us don't take the time to do the homework and find out what's out there. We don't take the time to talk to someone who is where you want to be. Those are the type of people that you should have around you. And I know earlier you mentioned the Goldman Sachs program.
Yeah.
Like for me, that was one of the pivotal decisions that I made to help us get to the point where we are today, was to actually find out about that program and actually make the commitment to attend that program.
Mm-hmm. So where do you hope to go from here? I mean, you've gotten some accolades for your business from the Philadelphia Business Journal and from other places, named one of the top 25 in South Jersey Biz Women to Watch, Minority Supplier of the Year by the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware Minority Supplier Development Council. Where do you hope to go from here with your business?
Our mission over the last few years is to put people to work. And so all those accolades are wonderful, and I'm thankful for them, but my mission is to put as many folks to work as possible and to use my business to show them a new normal, because I've seen how being gainfully employed, and also for some of my employees, that I've given them a second chance where some or most employers would not, and how that has changed the trajectory of not only their lives, but of their children's lives. So I'm all about making an impact in employees' lives so that they can live a better life and leave a legacy for their children.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I notice is that your business is certified as a MWBE business. So that means that you can get government contracts, or can you?
Right. So certifications are great.
Yeah.
I tell people that that's just the icing on the cake.
Sure.
That whatever your business is, whatever your craft is, you have to make sure that you can deliver that service. And But no one's going to give you a contract just because you are an MBE, a WBE, a DBE. First and foremost, you have to prove that you can deliver, that you can service, that you can scale, and then that's an icing on the cake. They're not just going to give you a contract because you have those acronyms for your certification.
So, do you do business with government entities or?
Very little.
Very little.
Most of our business is done in the private sector.
And corporate.
Correct.
Okay. Are you looking to do business with government entities, or do you prefer to do business with corporate entities instead?
Well, the corporate entities has worked for us thus far. So I think that we'll always have the majority of our business in that sector, but we are working on acquiring more business with the government, not only the federal government, but local government also.
Yeah. So what is your goal in terms of growth for your business? Where do you see it 5 years from now?
5 years from now, we want to be at, I'd say, over the $10 million mark in revenue, and also more offices on the East Coast. Like right now, we have an office in New Jersey. We have one in Philadelphia. We recently opened an office in Baltimore. So the goal is in 5 years over 10 million, and also to increase our business in the post-construction cleaning market, because there's a lot of construction boom on the East Coast.
Okay. All right. Randy Brooks is on the line with us from Bank of America. Randy, scaling a business up to that $10 million level, from a financial standpoint, from a planning standpoint, what does that take?
Yes. Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
And good morning, Patricia.
Good morning.
Definitely everything that she's done to this point is, if I'm sitting in front of a client who is starting a business, everything that she has mentioned about her journey is exactly the way that we would want to position a client to be at that 10 million mark. Majority of the clients that we deal with are between 5 to 25 million. So at Bank of America. And so when that 10 million mark hits there, a lot of it is going to be about the way to kind of duplicate what she's done. So she's kind of duplicated in this general population, this metropolitan area, a service that that she has provided. It's a good service, like she says, and it's working great. And so now the ability to kind of move that and duplicate that in Baltimore, duplicate that in other places across the country, is where you're going to be able to see that revenue stream jump. Because now that it's been successful here, I would say the next strategy would be, okay, well, what other area can we duplicate the success that we've had right here and be able to continue to push that there? And it looks like, at least from what she mentioned, it sounds like she's on that path as well.
All right. Well, we're going to go to break. And on the other side, we're going to continue our conversation right here on Word on Business. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
If you want to start your morning with mindfulness, motivation, and inspiration, tune in to Daybreak with me, Helana, here on WURD Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. I'm a health and wellness coach with over 15 years experience helping people to transform their lives. On the show, we talk health and wellness 360, from getting your mind right to getting your money right. So let's rise and shine together right here on WURDradio.com, 96.1 FM, 900 on your AM dial on Daybreak every morning.
Save the date for our next EcoWord event, Environmental Justice Summit, Sunday, October 20th at Bartram's Garden, 5400 Lindbergh Boulevard, from 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. Visit wordradio.com and stay tuned to Word Radio for more information.
PICO presents a special evening of the Living Legacy Jazz Award at the Kimmel Center on Friday, October 11th, celebrating the life and legacy of Charles Tolliver, American jazz trumpeter and composer. Join past awardees featuring a gala reception, award ceremony, and seats for the performance of Marcus Roberts and the Modern Jazz Generation. Visit midatlanticarts.org and click on Living Legacy Jazz Award for more info.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875
or visit wordradio.com.
Now's the time to get your home ready for any season with a Pico Energy Assessment. For just $25, a Pico Energy Advisor will come to your home and recommend ways to make your home more efficient and more comfortable year-round. Schedule your assessment today at pico.com/assessment or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE. That's pico.com/assessment or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE. Plus, you may be eligible for an assessment for free.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the mattress man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD, and this is Word on Business. We're back with Pat Claybrook. She is the president and CEO of Jadan Cleaning. And also we are on with Randy Brooks Jr. He's a VP, a small business banker at Bank of America. So Randy, when you have a business that has some longevity, they passed that 5-year mark, they are doing well, it's a stable business. As a banker, what do you recommend for that business in terms of moving to that next level?
Yes, Solomon, I would just really, when we have a client that is in this space, it's really more questioning. It's really just kind of identifying as an advisor, where the plans are, what's the next step and where the goal is. And my job is to really kind of be that GPS and be able to allow them to know and understand the financial direction of how they can achieve that overall plan. And so when we look at a business that is successful in that space, there's many ways and strategies that we could put together to allow that, depending on the next step. If it's expansion and continuing to growing the brand, there's a lot of different ways that we can help achieve that, and a lot of it is through lending. We have some lending tools. Sometimes it's based on long-term, short-term needs, but really at this point, it becomes more targeted on the client's needs in the direction that they want to go in.
Okay, well, Pat, then my question is to you. What direction do you want to go in?
Oh, yeah, no. The direction is up. Like for instance, Randy, I first started the business, a lot of it I self-funded, right? And then I went into alternative lending, and I'll give you an example. We just signed a $1 million contract July 1st, $1,025,000 for the next 3 years. 28 employees needed to fulfill that contract, and it required that I had to front $50,000 just to start the contract. I'm talking about 2 months of payroll just for that contract, as well as equipment and supplies that I needed, right? So we're at a point now where we need a financial vehicle that will sustain our growth, and because if you don't have the capital, you can go get the business, but if you don't have the capital to execute the contract, you're stuck.
Absolutely. No, and that's exactly where the financial, kind of support comes in, because to your point, it's really tough to grow and get the contracts that you're looking for because, like as you said, it requires a specific amount of salary and payroll costs that's associated with that. And so a lot of times, the most popular in terms of the financial industry, we use the business line of credit, right? So there's multiple different types of business lines of credit, but the ideal is the same, is that it's something that is a short-term use. When we talk short-term, we talk about within a year, 12 months. of being paid off, and it's revolving credit, meaning I don't have to continue to apply, put the paperwork in to get this, but I'm continuing to grow my business, and as I pay this down for the scenario that you just gave, $50,000, I'm going to need to pay for equipment. I'm going to also need to finance my payroll up front. That's where a line of credit comes in. And so when you have, we usually typically want to support, if you have a $5 million business, typically that's something where we say, okay, $5 million business, somewhere around $250,000, $300,000 line of credit would support that business. That would allow that business to be able to have that $250,000 would be enough to be able to always cover anything up front and allow for that short-term, revenue to come in as you're getting these new contracts. You'll be able to then pay that down and use it again for future investments as well.
Yeah. So in terms of, we talked a little bit earlier about employees and bringing employees in and giving them opportunities in order to, build a legacy not only for them, but for their children as well. I'm curious if that is part of your brand. How are you branding your business? What's the identity of it?
That is definitely part of our brand. That's definitely part of who we are. And I'll tell you a quick story that answers that question.
Okay.
A few years ago, someone came to me in reference to a young man who was previously incarcerated, and no one would hire him. He was working for like $5 an hour under the table in North Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met this young man, and I liked him, and I hired him. Over a short period of time, he became a supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
He was making enough money where he wanted to purchase a vehicle. So he came to me. Everybody calls me Miss Pat. He said, Miss Pat, I have $1,000. Can you lend me $1,000? So I lent him $1,000. He repaid it via his pay.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to buy a car. That year, he was able to buy his 3 children Christmas gifts for the first time in like 10 years.
Wow.
So that's what started the spark for me as far as, and I was just being me, was just doing me,
Mm-hmm.
but how that impacted him. And I could see the change in him. And now instead of him going to that store every day for $5 an hour under the table and not meeting his family's needs,
Yeah.
now his kids can see Dad's got a real job, with a real paycheck, and how that's impacting them and what they're seeing and how that's going to change the way that hopefully their path in life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our brand, is to impact lives through employment, to help change the communities where we do business. All of my accounts, my folks live within 30 minutes of the account that they clean. So I hire folks from within the community of wherever we do business.
Okay. Well, that certainly makes sense. And how do you market that? Because I think that is something that the community needs to know about. That's something that our folks need to know about. How are you marketing that identity?
Well, over the last, say, 9 months, that we've really worked hard to drill down to come up with, on paper, our mission and vision and our core values. And we just rolled that out 2 weeks ago to our employees.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to be using social media. We're going to be adding that to our website, and we're all going to be talking about it. Our core values, we've instilled in our supervisors that these are the folks that, these are the values that we're looking for in potential clients, right? It's all about, starts with us at Jadan speaking about our mission and vision and values, as well as walking the talk, right? And also by, what I'm doing here today, anytime someone asks me about my brand or my values or my mission, for all of us to start talking about it, and also via social media.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Randy, because a lot of times, with banks, you look at what the numbers are on paper. Certainly you look at that first. That's the business that you're in. But do you look at the brand, the identity of the business, the marketability of the business, as well in terms of investing in that business?
Yeah, no, I think that a lot of times the mission behind a particular company could cause, I would say, kind of as a brand of the bank that might not necessarily have programs in place, but locally, specifically for us in Philadelphia, there are connections and networks that we can put businesses, in connection with, depending on that mission. If they're looking for a specific, people, because we also work with other businesses that may provide, some type of resource network center that allows for people that's looking for jobs. And that's their business. Their business is helping people find jobs. So to make that connection happen, that's something that will be, something more on the local level where, me as an individual banker kind of invested into the future of my clients. That's something that you would see done, more locally, more individually, more so than kind of advertised as a brand of the bank.
Well, I'm more interested in how you look at the mission of the businesses that might come to you and say, we want you to loan us the money to grow to a $10 million business, right? We want you to front us the capital we need in order to do that. Do you look at their brands? Because I'm very interested in what Pat is saying about her business having this mission and having this vision to build up their employees so that they can then build up the futures of their families. Like, is that something that you look at? Look at the mission of the businesses that come to you?
As a banker for Bank of America, that is not something that we would honestly, pay a lot of attention to in terms of our ability to help them financially, in terms of lending. Is it something that I would look at individually to say I want to help that client? Yes, that is something that I would look at. But the bank is very, as you mentioned, Solomon. It's in the financial industry, a lot of red tape has been put out there specifically for a lot of the wrongs that you mentioned back in 2005 and that time period. So because of that, what has happened is banks and regulations that have been created have put them in a place where they had to be really kind of, black and white in terms of the numbers and the kind of like cost analysis that they look at in determining how much they're going to lend to a business. And so, but the only thing that we can do, and I think that what I could do to kind of help my clients with that, is typically you want to really kind of guide them the ways that will help have those numbers favorable for them. So, what that means is if, maybe there's a CPA or an accountant kind of coaching around the idea, around making the profitability look a little bit low because there's this idea that you pay less taxes on that, so that keeps you having more money. But when you kind of build your business that way on paper, banks are not going to be favorable to that because the profit margin is very low because obviously you're benefiting by paying less taxes. And so there's a lot of strategies that are out there, but in terms of being able to understand what banks look for and financial institutions look for, they want to see that profit margin very high, and being able to talk to my client real that way and let them know exactly kind of what that means and how you kind of adjust your financials to make sure that it's favorable to a bank. Those are some of the conversations that I would have.
All right, so Pat, we got about a minute left. Give me that vision, the vision that you just rolled out a couple of weeks ago. What is the vision for your business?
Oh, the vision is to impact our communities by making sure that the community members are gainfully employed. And we can do that by acquiring larger contracts, because the larger the contract, the more people that we can employ to fulfill that contract. When we started out, we started out with cleaning a doctor's office once a month. Took one person, a couple hours. And now, with this contract I just mentioned, that's 28 people. Out of those 28, there are 13 full-time employees with benefits, right? That's important, and the rest are part-time. But,
Yeah.
but that's in one community, about 15 miles radius. So we're making impacts, and that's the goal. That's why I'm out here every day, is to acquire those contracts so we could put our folks to work.
How do people learn more about your business?
To learn more about Jadan Cleaning, go to www.jadancleaning.com, or they can call 609-714-0426.
Okay, give me that number one more time.
Sure, 609-714-0426. And the website is www.jadan
All right. Well, Randy, how do people get in touch with you?
Yes, it's bankrex.com//Randy Brooks. Also, direct phone number is 267-939-5958.
All right. All right. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, you too. So we're going to go to break. On the other side, we are going to continue the show. It's Dear Melanie, your favorite cousin and mine, with lifestyle advice. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters, don't miss The Source.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
My name is Denise Myers. I like the dedicated senior center because of the feeling I got when I went there. I woke up that morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I asked the Lord, if this center for me, let me feel some kind of connection. And when I went, I felt the connection of the love and all the hugs. I just felt that connection with that office. I love my doctor, Dr. Kumar. He has helped me in a lot of ways because I was on a lot of medication and I felt tired and sleepy all the time. He took a lot of my medicine for me, and ever since then I have plenty of energy and joy. And I just feel better, feel like I'm a young girl again. This is the place for you, because I have seen people, not only me got better, I seen other people improving their health.
Experience the dedicated difference. Call for a free VIP tour. 267-443-1900. That's 267-443-1900. Dedicated Senior Medical Centers.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy. Is it time to consider a nursing home for someone? Nursing home journeys are not easy. Talk with your family and the person who will be the patient. Be open for ideas and ready for a few tears or pushbacks. Check with health professionals and nursing home facilities. Gather your team who can be visitors for the new resident. Stay prayerful. You've come this far by faith, so keep the faith and go forward.
Solomon Jones. Wake up with Word.
Akbar Hassan. Let's talk about a simple budget, because there's many ways to do a budget.
Okay.
All right, with a budget, what I would recommend is you take your total take-home income for the month, then you subtract from that your fixed expenses. Your fixed expenses are your rent, your utilities, card payments, anything fixed, and then you do a subtotal. Everything after that are going to be your variable expenses. All right, your food costs, any entertainment expenses, anything that doesn't fit in that fixed category. Then you're going to get your net total. The bottom line, that's the amount you want to throw in the savings.
Download the full podcast now
at WordRadio.com. Don't miss Wake Up with Word.
Weekdays, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Black Talk Media.
Lifting every voice
till earth and heaven ring.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media. Backed by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. And we are back, with our next guest. Dear Melanie, that's right, your favorite cousin and mine. Melanie Bryan Hurst is a doctoral candidate in social work at Widener University. She is the first lady of Mount Pisgah AME in Jersey City, New Jersey, where the Reverend Dr. Stanley Hurst II is the pastor. She joins Wake Up with Word to answer life's biggest questions. Melanie, good morning.
Hey, Solomon, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. It's Wednesday. I'm great.
I know, right? Now, is it hot? Is it hot in Jersey City? Because it's supposed to be 90 here.
Yes, 91 degrees today, and I think I'm going to stay in the house. I planned on going food shopping. Yeah, I can wait. We're going to drink this water tonight. I'm not going out the house.
Global warming is real. They think it's a game. It is real.
It's really real, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I got another one of those questions, Melanie.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Dear Melanie, my best friend and I have squabbled over all kinds of stuff. Guys, clothes, even the color of our fingernail polish. We always make up eventually, and it's just like the arguments never happen. There's just one problem. My friend never admits she's wrong. I didn't realize it mattered to me before, but it's really started to bother me lately. How do I get her to see that we have to talk through things instead of just pretending they never happened? Signed, Not Happy in North Philly.
Ah, man, Not Happy in North Philly. This is going to be an interesting one. So listen, okay, I got to share this story. I had to take a defensive driving class as a part of training when I worked for Philadelphia Corporation for Aging. And so the instructor told us all the do's and don'ts of driving. And the portion that stuck out to me the most, and the section that I still remember till this day, was the part about law in Pennsylvania surrounding fault in accidents, okay? So PA is a no-fault state, meaning regardless of whose fault the accident is, each person shares a percentage of the blame for the accident. Now, the purpose of this is because regardless of who, caused the crash, each person can make a claim through their insurance to get benefits for injuries, lost wages, medical expenses, etc. So in a fault state, what happens is you have to wait. If it's your fault, and say you may have bodily injuries, you still have to wait for an investigation to finish before you can get any money for your insurance. So Pennsylvania and some other states are no-fault states. So listen, this thing said it did not sit right with me during the whole training. And I remember asking the instructor, so if I'm sitting there minding my African-American business and somebody just slams into my car,
right,
you're telling me it's partially my fault. And the instructor said you shouldn't have been sitting at that light. I mean, this thing messed me up. I mean, completely messed me up. I passed the class, but that whole section worked my nerves, and I put a nice note in the, now, he didn't write the law, but still, he just worked my nerves about that section. I just didn't like it, okay? So, listen, what does this have to do with your friend? I'm so glad you asked. Sometimes we get into debates with people around us about whose fault it is, whose blame it is, who was right, who was wrong. And maybe we should treat disagreements like PA treats car crashes. I mean, seriously. Instead of us trying to find the blame in each other and determine which person was wrong or which person was right, we need to think about accountability for our role and the other person's role in the blow-up. Now, I can't lie. I'm right, Solomon, 99.9998% of the time, okay?
Really?
So I'm just going to keep it 100 on this show on Wednesday morning. I'm just saying, okay? I don't care what it is. I could be talking about biochemistry. And Solomon, I got a D in biochemistry, but it doesn't matter. Because if I'm talking about it, I'm right. It is what it is.
Okay.
But, okay, seriously. Most of us are similar in that way. And if it's something that's based on our personal convictions or our experience or our values, we are going to be firm and unwavering in our opinions about it. So this is why I'm suggesting we thinking about, when we start thinking about it, we think about the ways that we made the disagreement even more disagreeable, not necessarily about who's right or who's wrong. Because, listen, if we're going to tell the truth about it, if you're talking about your convictions or something, you're never going to get to who's right or who's wrong. I'm talking to myself, too, okay? I mean, now, with my best friends, Liz and Tasha, hey, shout out, we've been able to do this and grow in this way over the past 20 years. So when we have disagreements, we absolutely hold each other accountable. And it's not about who was right or who was wrong or whose opinion made sense. It's really about, listen, we disagreed about this, and it's okay that we disagreed, but here's the part that made you more disagreeable. And you got nasty about this part, and that wasn't right. And we can agree to disagree on whatever. Now, Solomon, with my husband, oh, no. In the moment, I'm like, African-American, you're wrong, I'm right. That's the end of the story. I'm growing in marriage, okay? I'm growing in this. So, listen, you need to have the conversation with your best friend about accountability. But before that combo, I got to ask this. Is this your best girlfriend or the coworker that you met last year? Now, that's a story for another day. I mean, but if it's a coworker, girl, just skip the conversation because the relationship may not be firm enough to handle this type of growth in a friendship. But if it's your best friend and you both have been through some stuff through the years, which it sounds like you have, you can definitely have a conversation about holding each other accountable, which might result in you being the person to apologize for your part in making the disagreement more disagreeable. So, but if you're accountable for your stuff, hopefully your best friend, your BFF, your best friend forever for life, all of that other stuff, will certainly follow by example. And this will be a phase in the friendship that causes you both to grow. And that's it. And now we can all go to the movies and enjoy life and eat chocolate.
Okay, well, let's do that. That sounds good. That is your favorite cousin of mine. That's dear Melanie. Melanie Bryan Hurst, of course, is a doctoral candidate at Widener University, First Lady of Mount Pisgah AME in Jersey City, New Jersey, where the Reverend Dr. Stanley Hurst II is the pastor. You can get more from Dear Melanie by going to askthepreacherswife.com. That's askthepreacherswife.com. That's where you can check her out. And you can send your own questions to her through us. You can send it to me at sjones@wordradio.com or go to wrdradio.com and click on the banner with Melanie's smiling face on the banner. Melanie, thanks so much.
All right, talk to you later.
Okay, talk to you soon. So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Kawesa, how do you deal with people that never admit they're wrong?
I don't deal with them.
I know that's right. I know that's right. I ain't got time. I do not have time. You are not going to drive me crazy. You are not going to drive me crazy. Well, we got one that we got to deal with. His name is Donald Trump, a.k.a. Dr. Evil, who now wants to put alligators and snakes in a moat around the wall. That's what he was saying privately when the whole debate was going on about this wall. And it is crazy, and it's sad, but it harkens back to where we were during and after slavery, when you had black babies that were thrown into alligator-infested waters. They call them gator bait, right? The cruelty of slavery, and I think we are just now really scratching the surface of the actual cruelty that went on, right? And the president's actions, his words, his attitudes, his beliefs are reminiscent of that. And so when I look at what's happening around the immigration issue, I see us. I see black folk, right? And it's a scary thing to see, because I think that many of us believe we're so far removed from that. Oh, nothing like that could ever happen again. Well, if you could do it to them, who's next? I want to know what you think. 215-634-8065. Of course, also talking about the fact that Amber Geiger has been found guilty of murder. She could face anywhere from 5 years to 99 years. Do you think that we are moving in a different direction? She is a white female former police officer who killed this man in his own apartment while she was a police officer. Does this represent a turning of the corner, or is this just an exception, right? Where okay, you got a conviction this time, don't expect it to happen all the time, right? I want to know what you think about that as well. So give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Obana Hagen is on line 1. Good morning.
Hey, Obona Hagens, how you doing, Solomon?
I'm good.
I just, I'm looking at the energy that particularly Afro-Americans put behind Donald Trump every day, all day. We're taking on that energy as opposed to doing what we can do to make a difference regardless of what Donald Trump does. Because there are many things that we're talking about on a daily basis, but we're not doing anything to actually change it. Like, we talk about people not voting, but how many people are actively going out, registering people to vote and educating them about voting? This is something that we can actually do to get him out of office and to get people who should be in office. But to keep talking about how crazy he is 2.5 years after he's been elected, we already know that. We already know that the things that he says out of his mouth is crazy, but we can't stop that, but we can change what we do.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So do you actually think that we're just talking and not doing anything? Do you think that?
I think that when you put the energy of Donald Trump on people every day and talking about how crazy he is, we're consuming it too much.
Right, but that's not what I asked you, though. What I'm asking you is, do you think that we are just talking and not doing anything?
I think the majority are, yes. The majority
Okay,
are just
so
talking.
that's not what I'm doing, right?
No, I'm not talking about you. But
That's not what I'm doing, because I think that you're right, that there are some local issues that have to be dealt with, and certainly we are going about dealing with those local issues like policing here in the city of Philadelphia, right? We went out and protested about that at police headquarters. We went to city council, demanded that they held hearings. When they held those hearings, we went and testified at those hearings. And I might as well go ahead and say it now. On October 11th, we'll be back at City Hall pushing 3 specific demands around the policing contract here in the city of Philadelphia. So I understand what you're saying about Donald Trump, but we have to talk about things that are relevant. And so that is why today we're talking about something that should be relevant in your neighborhood in South Philadelphia around how vacant lots are sold by the city of Philadelphia. We're talking about that.
Hello?
We're talking about the Amber Geiger case in Dallas. And I'm here. And we're also talking about what's happening with Donald Trump. So we're talking about things on a national level. We're talking about things on the local level. But more importantly, we're doing some things on the local level as well. Obana.
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to disagree that you're not doing anything. I'm just talking about continuously talking about Trump.
Yeah, we're not just, but I'm saying we got to talk about what's hot. We got to talk about what's happening right now.
But right, and let's talk about what's happening in Grays Ferry, which is where I live. I live in one of the most gentrified areas, and one of the reasons why is because of faulty leadership. Those are the things that I think we should be paying more attention to right here in City Hall, right where.
Well, this what I want you to do then. I want you to meet us at City. Were you at any of the other stuff that we did?
No. What I
because I'm saying
better than that. I ran for office to change it.
All right. Well, I'm sorry you didn't win.
Not only do I go to city council meetings at least 2 times a month.
All right. Well, I want you to join. I want you to come and be with us on October 11th, right? When we out here making these specific demands around.
I can come.
All right.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
I'll to some of the other things that you've done.
Good.
But the point that I'm making, the only point that I'm making is that we should be focusing on the things that we can actually change, like starting a bank. We need Afro-American banks and businesses. Those are the things that we should be focusing on, because guess what? Donald Trump is going to do what Donald Trump is going to do. The Republicans are going to do what they're going to do, but we're not doing what we can do.
So the reason I'm pushing back against what you're saying is because we talk about multiple things every single day, and we approach things from that financial standpoint that you're talking about. That's why we just had a black. Wait a minute. That's why we just had a black business on for 40 minutes. Like that's a third of the show. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what you're saying is not necessarily true. That's the point I'm trying to get across to you in terms of what we do. We don't talk about Donald Trump all day, every day. It's one of 6 stories that we are talking about on this show.
I get it, but Donald Trump is a major part. And again, saying he's crazy, we got to start doing something. We have to start actually doing things. We have to start opening up businesses. We have to start really talking about how we're going to get our children educated, knowing that the school systems are messed up.
I hear you.
Those are the things that we could actually change.
I hear you, but that's why we just had a black business on the show for 40 minutes. That's why we have Akbar Hassan on every Friday to give financial advice to our community. That's why we have Jay McCalla on to examine politics, not only from the national level, but also from the city and state level. That's why we have Roxanne Jones on to talk about national women's issues, as well as sports, as well as politics. Like, we talk about all of these things.
I'm not saying you don't.
Okay.
I absolutely do. I listen a lot.
Okay.
I know, but what I'm saying is that I just think that it's just too much energy placed on Donald Trump. We can't change what he's going to do. That idea is crazy. We don't need to keep talking about it.
Yeah, I think we do, and it's I think we do, because I think that it's an existential threat to black people. And that's why we have to talk about it. Our folks have to understand. We can't get used to it. We can't think that it's normal. We can't just ignore it. We can't act like, oh, we can't do anything about it. We can't act like we can't speak up against it. No, that's not what we're going to do. We are going to speak about it. We are going to talk about it. And we're going to make sure our folks know, so that when they get to the polls, right, while our people are registering people, Obama, I want to thank you for your call, while our people are registering people to vote, right? While we are preparing to vote, we need to understand and know every single thing that is going on, so that we know why we have to vote. That's why we talk about it, not just to be like, oh, that's crazy. No, we need to keep this in front of our people, because we need to understand that if he could do this, then he could move on to the next thing. If he could do that, he could move on to the next thing. If he could do it to them, he could do it to us. That's why we talk about it. Whatever I talk about, man, is for the benefit of our people. I mean, that really is the bottom line for me. That's why I love what I do so much, because it's something that can actually impact how we think. And as a man thinketh, so is he, right? I mean, the bottom line is this, that we're going to talk about the things that benefit our folks. We're going to give them advice that can move them forward. But we're also going to talk about the things that are a danger to our folks, so that we can understand what's going on around us. That's what this whole thing is about. That's why it's called Wake Up with Word, right? Because we're waking our people up, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually and financially. We're waking our people up. That's what this whole thing is about. So, if you don't like that part of it, I get it. Hopefully you like some other parts of it. But we have to keep our folks awake, because if we don't, for a lack of knowledge, man, our people perish. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. Visit enontab.org. Enon, a place where people encounter God.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
At Dietz & Watson, we've spent over 75 years focusing on the details. This can be traced back to our founder, Gottlieb Dietz, who learned how to make franks and sausages the right way in Germany. Today, each one of our delicious offerings is meticulously crafted using perfected details. Because if it isn't good enough for our family, it isn't good enough for yours. To us, the details make all the difference.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
WURD.
Oak Street Health and Caregivers America invite you to attend CEFN's inaugural Senior Harvest Ball on Friday, October 25th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Hilton Hotel, 4200 City Ave. For ticket information, contact Sherry Hill at 215-858-4957.
Word Show on the go.
Tell us where you'd like to see the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, bring the Word Show on the Go team next. Visit wordradio.com. Click the Word Show on the Go banner and let us know about your community event, big news in your community, or an issue you'd like to see addressed. You can also catch up on the latest episode of Word Show on the Go or binge watch previous episodes. It's Word Show on the Go with the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, exclusively on wordradio.com. Word Show on the Go is funded in part by the Facebook Journalism Project Community Network. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. I am racked with guilt. Every time I look across this console at Kuwaisa, I'm racked with guilt. As I came in here, I was sick. I'm trying to make it through. I'm taking all kind of stuff, emergency, oil of oregano, putting on the Watkins rub and a towel wrapped around my neck. Just all kinds of stuff. People bringing me stuff. Coworkers bringing me honey and tea and all of this stuff. And we trying to, get me better. And now Kuwaisa's sick. I feel bad. Kuwaisa.
You should. Darn you.
You're going to be all right, though. All you got to do, you got to get one good day of rest, right? You got to get, and when you come back, I'm going to have some of that ginger tea that my wife makes. I'm going to have some of that, the Miracle Elixir from Levita Jones. It's ginger tea. She zests the ginger, fresh ginger, lemons, and honey. And there's one more ingredient in it. I need to find out what that one more ingredient is. But it's green tea with all of that stuff in it, and it's a miracle elixir. So you get some of that. You take some regular medication. You take some vitamin C. You take some oil of oregano. I feel bad. I'm ready to go to the vitamin store and get all this stuff and give it to you because it's like I know it's my fault. But anyway. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. We got to get Kuwaisa well now, y'all. Are there any home remedies that you did not call with when it was me? 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. Of course, we're talking about a number of things. Yes, we are talking about Donald Trump. But we're also talking about what's going on here in the city of Philadelphia. The city council trying to reform how vacant land that is owned by the city is sold. So I think that's an interesting conversation because I think that, it wasn't an issue until you had black folk who were able to hook up other black folk, and suddenly it was an issue, right? But it was never an issue before. I still remember when I was coming up, Rizzo was mayor. They asked Rizzo, why you keep giving contracts to your friends? He said, who I'm supposed to give them to, my enemies? And Rizzo was right. Right? So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Maurice from Southwest is online, too. Go ahead, Maurice.
Solomon, the truth.
What's up, brother?
You know what? I hate to say this, Solomon, but I actually agree with your caller before.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we're not supposed to talk about Trump, but we got so many problems right here in this city that city council avoids. Is that we got things here that they could be working on now that they just move it to another subject. I mean, come on, school board. If you didn't come back to the station, nobody else was going to bring up about the cops. Nobody had enough energy to go and get a permit when they're supposed to get one and do a legal protest. People might have hit the street, but it wouldn't be legal. See, these are the things that, thank God, you came back. What I'm saying is I understand his frustration, but this is a radio show, and we need to talk about those things. But when we talk about just the plain facts of Philadelphia, our city council has failed us. And not only the big ones, but the ones that sit on council that say nothing, those are the ones. Not only supposed to care about their area, they're supposed to care about the whole city.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we have a problem at when we start talking about the city. And the first thing when one of these politicians come on your show, they shoot the Donald Trump to get our mind off of what we're trying to tell them and talk about the big one. We got that election coming up. Was it next month? And we didn't find a way to find a decent candidate to run against the man. So it's our fault, and I'm saying mine too, because we know we needed a candidate to run against him, but we sat back and waited for somebody else to do the job.
Well, I mean, all I can say is this: what country do we live in, Maurice?
America.
We live in America. Who's the president of the United States of America?
Crazy.
Okay, so we need to talk about what's going on nationally with him. We need to talk about what's going on statewide with our state reps, state senators, with our governor, and we need to be talking about what's going on in the city, and where we can, and strategically, we need to be taking action on these things. One of the things that really encouraged me yesterday, I went to the market in my neighborhood, and I saw some sisters out there from the AKA sorority, shout out to them, at the ShopRite of Cheltenham Square, registering people to vote. And so I can't do everything, but I'm encouraged that there are our people are out there, man, and they doing some of the things that I cannot, man. And so, I think all of us have a role to play, and certainly, we'll take it under advisement, but we got to talk about when the man talking about he going to build a moat with alligators and snakes in it. We got to talk about it, Maurice. We got to.
Let's Alan.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Everything you're saying. But the problem is we getting ready to put another tyrant in next month, and we didn't do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
See, he lied to us on every subject. It ain't that he made a couple of mistakes. Everything he say is a lie, and we don't deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a city of 47%, and there's no reason why we're not getting our reparations right now in Philadelphia, and everybody's letting that slide, because if we think we've been gentrified now, what do you think will happen in the next 4 years? That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, and
I fell asleep.
I think you're right, Maurice. I mean, we should have voted, man. We should have voted in bigger numbers, and that is the issue. The issue is we do not vote in the numbers that we can. People are disillusioned around voting, and that's what's going on locally and nationally. That's what's going on. And until we deal with that issue in our own community, man, we're gonna be dealing with some stuff that unfortunately we don't want to have to deal with. So 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Eric from West Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
When you said about you needed the home remedies the other day, I was listening. I'm like, well, I listen to these doctors every weekend that come on this show. One of them called and told you what to do, and the other one talks about, building your immune system up to the point where the virus don't even take hold.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you don't get sick because the strong immune system keep you from getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
So he always offered different types of herbs and stuff. And a lot of people was telling you right, but it's the way you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said you had golden seal.
Yeah.
The doctor always say, you take it 2 weeks, then you take a week off, then you back on for 2 weeks. So it's the way you got to administer it. That's why when the doctor called in and told you, how to get the virus out your system,
mm-hmm.
that's how you do it. But you got to make sure you stay in balance, and that comes with like exercise, good eating, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that's all I wanted to say.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate your call this morning on WRD. Kawesa, like that ain't helping me now. All right. I need help now. Okay. And the thing with golden seal and stuff that builds up your immune system, like that's the stuff you're supposed to be taking before you get sick. So once you get sick, you start taking it. Well, you already sick now. You know what I mean? So it's just got to run its course. But I did, part of what I did was I rested. And I have a very hectic schedule. And so I made sure that I got some rest. And that was helpful for me. And so I am looking forward to just being all the way back. But I feel a little bit better now. And that's why I want to hear from you. Give us a call at 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. Let's check out what they are saying on Facebook, because we are talking about a number of things that are happening right here in the city of Philadelphia and beyond. And so Diane Fassett said this caller is right on. This is a radio show that talks the talk and walks the walk. No negativity is needed about why we talking about things. That's where it starts, and it started when you came back on the air. Diane, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your sentiment. But, I'm listening to everybody. I'm listening to everything everybody has to say, and I appreciate it, man. That's why it's a talk show. I don't want everybody to agree. I want us to be able to have real conversations, and I hear the frustration because, yes, there are so many things that we are dealing with. And if we try to talk about every single thing that we are dealing with every single day, we would never be able to focus on anything. And so what my goal is for us to empower our listeners to do something about what is happening around them, to step up and to step out and to be about improving their own communities, their own lives, their own families, their own destinies, right? That's what I want this to be about. And we had some laughter along the way, and we'll have some tears along the way, and we'll have some disagreements along the way, but hopefully as we go along the way, we will be moving forward. That's what I want out of this for all of us, man, for our people, because that's what matters to me. So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. Let's talk to Mark from Mount Airy on line 1. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, praise the Lord, Brother Solomon. I really appreciate you, man. You're an inspiration.
Thank you, brother.
I had the privilege of meeting you some years ago when Dick Gregory was in town, and I had the privilege of actually having you take a picture and bless my 4 grandsons at the time.
Oh, amen. Thank you, brother.
And, man, I just want to encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing, man. You always have some naysayers, and people give all kinds of opinions, but at the end of the day, the only one that matters is his.
How about that?
Have a blessed day, man. Stay encouraged. Man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm taking all opinions. That's what we do. And we will take all of that under advisement. But, when the man say he want to build a moat, right? And put alligators and snakes in it and tell soldiers to shoot people in the legs, right? To slow them down and put spikes on top of a fit. Like, Kawesa, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about that. Come on, man.
You're right. No, we definitely have to talk about it. I mean, I'm like, is this an episode of Dungeons and Dragons?
I know,
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand. And then, and it really just, when I hear things like this, it really gives me insight into the mind that is Trump. And I really do think that something is psychologically wrong with him, because why in the world would you even suggest something like this? I mean, this is like medieval.
I know.
Medieval. So, and maybe that's just where his mind is. I mean, the people back then, they had lower IQs, you know, so maybe that's where he's at. Yeah,
maybe so. Because anytime you talk about building a moat with some alligators and snakes in it, and I think that it really does. It harkens back to a time when that was the kind of stuff they were doing to black people, black children, black babies. They call them gator bait. They throw them in the river with gators. You know what I'm saying? And so, we have to be able to connect what's going on now to what has happened historically, because history doesn't tell you what did happen. History tells you what's going to happen. History tells you the kind of things that people are going to try again. Because as much as technology might change, as much as times might change, people don't change. The nature of people does not change. So you're always going to have somebody who feels like they can just oppress other people. You're always going to have somebody like that. So they're going to try the same thing that was done before. That's why you have to have an understanding of history. So this is not just, oh, he crazy, ha ha. No, this is, wait a minute, this has happened before. And when it happened before, it was us. So yeah, if you're talking about putting alligators in a river around a wall to keep people out, etc., no, this is something that was done to black folks before, and we need to be aware of that. We need to be cognizant of that. We need to understand how it applies to us, so that we can be ready. That's what this is about. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. So Dennis Garden says on Facebook, I don't live in Philadelphia, so you have to talk about different issues to keep me interested as a listener. Dennis, thank you so much. And I think that's the other thing that you know, people in Philadelphia might not realize. People are listening to us across the country, right? So we have to talk about stuff that is national, that is international, that is not necessarily just about Philadelphia, and we want to continue to expand that audience. And so if we just talk about what's happening in Southwest Philly, guess what? If you in Delaware, you turn off the radio. If you in Florida, you turn off the radio. If you in Chicago, Ohio, the places that people are calling us from, you turn off the radio. We have to talk about, you know, more than just what's happening down the street. Right? Because that is what we are. We are a national show, right? And we aspire to be even more than that. So that's why. But I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. We are going to go to break. And on the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. I am Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters!
Don't miss The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
on Word Radio.
WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app.
My name is Shirley Turner. I was born, raised Philadelphia, 68 years. I learned about Dedicated through my insurance carrier. This office of Dedicated was much closer to me. I liked the idea of being able to set the appointment and they would send someone to get me and bring me back, which was a big plus because where I was going, you get there on your own. The staff at Dedicated, they've been very kind to me. Tashiana, when I come in, even if I call her on the phone, "Hi, Miss Turner," she knows my name, knows my voice. It makes you feel better because in all the 30-something years I went to the other, that receptionist still don't know me. And little things like that matter.
Experience the Dedicated difference. Call for a free tour. 267-443-1900. Dedicated Senior Medical Centers. 267-443-1900.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWord.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
The following alert is from AARP, Pennsylvania. Attention listeners, con artists posing as Federal Trade Commission workers are calling people about the Do Not Call registry. They may ask you to enroll, confirm, or renew your phone number on the registry. They're collecting personal information such as your social security number, which the real registry does not require, so they can access your bank account. Learn more about AARP and what they're doing to protect consumers right here in Philadelphia. Visit aarp.org/Philadelphia.
You're waking up
with Word,
hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Of course, many of you are commenting on Facebook. We're talking about several issues. One, Amber Geiger. Amber Geiger is the white Dallas police officer who walked into the apartment of both them, Jean. They both lived in the same apartment building. She claimed she thought she was in her apartment, shot him dead in his own apartment, and then tried to claim stand your ground. Well, she has been found guilty of murder, and now she faces between 5 and 99 years in prison. We're waiting for the sentencing to come down, but we're talking about that, and I want to know what you think about it. Also talking about, yes, your president, Donald Trump, who the New York Times is reporting wanted to put a moat around the wall with gators and snakes in the water, and wanted soldiers to shoot immigrants in the legs to slow them down, and wanted to put spikes on top of the fence to tear human flesh. Like, you know, this is the kind of mindset that this person has. And again, this is not just about migrants, right, coming from Central America. This is about us, because this is the same kind of thing that was done to black children during slavery, and afterward they called them gator bait, would throw them in the water, right? And so this is not just something that's about other people. It's about all of us. I want to know what you think about that. Also, Harvard has won its case around affirmative action. I expect that it will be appealed. There was a lawyer behind it who was working with an Asian group to try to get Harvard to stop considering other things other than grades to allow more black people to get into Harvard. This is not a battle that is over. We have won this round, but we'll see what happens going forward. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065 is the number. 215-634-8065. Let's go to the phone lines and talk to Lulu from Mayfair on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning to you and to Word staff. I particularly like Croatia. When she answers the phone, she's very congenial, very just makes you feel so important. I just love Word, period, and as well as you, sir.
Oh, that's nice, because sometimes I'll be telling her to hang up on y'all. But,
I know.
but she's too nice, so she doesn't. Go ahead, Lulu.
But getting back first to that PO officer, thank God she's off the force. I mean, there are incredible people on the force. If she can't tell her bedroom from another person's house, she don't need to be on the force. And with Trump, you know, he's the devil's advocate. We just have to pray much for that man. And lastly, we're on a mission in Philadelphia. We don't mean no harm. We like to talk about what's trending and all, but we have a warhead that we have. We can't drop the ball. And, you know, you got to have your feet pointed in a certain area to cover certain things until you get to the end of it, like the commissioner and police that was removed from off of Facebook making comments. So, you know, we're on a mission. And, yes, you do talk about a lot of trending things. God bless you guys and keep up the good work.
God bless you, too, and thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go back to the phone lines, talk to Kelly from South Philly on line 3. Good morning, Kelly.
Yes, good morning. I was watching CNN last night.
Yes.
And he actually wanted them to be shot and killed. But the soldiers were saying that they're not allowed to do that. As far as the snakes and the alligators, I'm thinking that maybe he got that suggestion from his teenage son or his grandchildren, because that just don't sound like a grown man would say something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It just don't click with me that a grown man will say, put alligators and snakes in the moat. Sounds like something a kid would say, you know. So I just wanted to put that out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is something that he's thinking about, and it's crazy because, and I think we need to understand it. We need to understand and know that these are the kinds of things that he had to be talked out of. And here's the deep thing, that those who were on his staff and kind of stood up and said, no, you can't do that. That is illegal, right? Talking about shooting migrants in the legs and those kinds of things. he purged his staff of those people. He got rid of all the people who disagreed with the things that he was talking about that were illegal. He got rid of all of them, and so that this is where we are now, where he surrounded himself with people who are going to agree with whatever he says, and that's an even more dangerous place to be. Let's go to Alice from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Alice.
Yes, good morning, Solomon. How
Morning.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. First-time caller.
Oh, thank you so much.
But I listen to you every day.
Thank you.
I just want to shout out to all the listeners to let folks know that the United Block Captains Association is having the voting machines. This is our 4th time, so we're looking for folks to come out and get a chance to, see what they are, get a chance to try it out before November. So we're located at 40th and Poplar, 40, 15, 17 Poplar Street, and they'll be there tonight at 7 p.m.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you for calling. We appreciate that this morning on WURD. Let's go to Sandra from South Jersey on line 1. Go ahead, Sandra.
Good morning, Solomon. First-time caller.
Thank you.
Long-time listener.
Thank you.
Of the station. What I wanted to say, I watched the trial yesterday with Ava Geiger and the judge. But you know what? We have to give the jury credit because they're the ones that really made the decision. And the judge, I seem to feel as though she was fair because in the latter part, she allowed them to expose her, centrics or whatever about the racism, texting about the black people, the police, the blacks on the police force, and other racist comments. But I thought she was fair. And with the Castle Doctrine, that was like a reverse psychology because the jury was much smarter and they saw through it.
Yeah, they did.
That's my opinion.
All right.
Because I saw it all the way. I watched it all the way through.
Okay. So you thought the judge was fair.
I think she was fair.
Okay.
Even though she did have showed emotion, but she showed emotion through what was being said. You couldn't hold back, any type of emotion. I thought it was good.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much. You do the same, and thank you for calling. We love our first-time callers. Please call back. Let's go to Joe from North Philly on line 3. Go ahead, Joe.
Yes, thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I want to say that, I like you and we've met before, but, it's just too many lies that go on just for the sake of popularity, and lies never really bring about it.
Well, who's lying?
Well, listen, I'm not here to be pointing.
Well, no, you just pointed a finger. You said it. You started out and said, I like you and I met you, and then you said there's too many lies going on. So who's lying?
Look, in journalism, it all seems to be subjective.
Who is lying?
Well, trying to propagate the Democrats as some type of savior for the
Nobody said that. Who's lying? Nobody said that Democrats were any savior for anybody. I've never said that in my life. So who's lying? Are you saying that I'm lying? That's the question I'm asking you.
Know what I'm saying? I'm saying that too many of the people that come on these, that are, host on these radio shows.
Well, I'm a host on a radio show. Are you saying that I'm lying? I'm just asking you a question. You brought up that you said there's too many lies, and I'm asking you point blank, are you saying that I'm lying, yes or no?
I said I'm trying to answer you.
I'm asking you a yes or no question, though.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Can I answer?
It's a yes or no question.
To you, it's a yes or no question.
Oh, it is a yes or no question. You came and said that there's too many lies going on. I like you, but there's too many lies going on, and I'm asking you, am I lying?
Now, may I answer?
Yeah, it's a yes or no answer.
The answer is if a person is subjective and not objective, then they're trying to give you a story from their point of view. It's not necessarily the
That's
truth.
my job. That's my job, right? My job is to give you my point of view, is to look at the facts, right? And
That's
then
not journalism.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, brother. I got a degree in journalism. I graduated with cum laude from Temple Journalism School. I've been a journalist for 23 years, right? There are different types of journalism. Don't tell me what journalism is when that's my profession.
So, I graduated from Temple also, and subjective type rhetoric is not the truth.
What does a columnist do?
They should be objective.
No, that's not true. That is not true. You don't know what you're talking about. A columnist's job is to look at the facts and give an opinion, an informed opinion based on those facts. I've been a columnist for 20-some years, right? I have been a radio host for 6 years, right? So my job is to look at the facts, give my opinion, spark conversation, and to do it in a way that allows other people to give their opinions too. But when you call and say you're lying, then I have to challenge that because I just need to know where you're coming from. And if you can't just say yes or no when you've made that accusation, then maybe you should go back and kind of consider, whether or not that accusation is true. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Let's go to Diane from South Philly on line 4. Go ahead, Diane.
Hello, Sullivan. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I'm good. I just called you to let you know that you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying your show every day. So I'm calling to encourage you. Keep on fighting a good fight and doing all the great things that you're doing. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you, Diane. I appreciate your call this morning on WRD. Let's go to Jeff from Center City. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. It's a pleasure to hear your radio show today. And my easy point is, how do you get 5 to 99 years? I mean, what does that mean?
I don't know. That's a good question.
2.5, and because she killed a man? Man, that don't sound right to me. I mean, that just, I don't know, man.
Well, they didn't give her the sentence yet. That's the range. So it could be, they could give her 5. They could give her anything from 5 to 99. They haven't given her the sentence yet, so we don't know what it is yet.
What is that defense that she claimed that
Castle Doctrine. Castle Doctrine. The Castle Doctrine, yeah.
I didn't really follow any of the case. I just, from the little bit I gathered, man, this lady was definitely in the wrong. I mean, that poor guy, just happened to be that apartment. Could have been any apartment, right?
Yeah, could have been.
He won a crappy lottery, I guess, but, man, I hope she gets what she deserves. And a little more.
Yep, me too. Me too. Thanks, Jeff. We appreciate your call, as always, to WURD. All right, so that's going to do it for today's show. I appreciate everybody that called in, especially those who disagreed. Y'all make it spicy. We appreciate that. And I want to thank all of our guests, as always, including your favorite cousin and mine, dear Melanie Bryant Hurst, and, of course, Temple Professor Lynn Washington, Patricia Claybrook of Jadan Cleaning, and Randy Brooks of Bank of America. And now, for super producer Kawesa Mathis, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.
Live Nation presents Friday, February 14th, 2020, Boys to Men at the Met Philadelphia. Valentine's Day, February 14th, Boys to Men will be home for a special night at the Met Philadelphia. Local presale begins Thursday, October 3rd from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. All tickets on sale Friday, October 4th at 10 a.m. Make it a great night out with your special sweetheart. Valentine's Day, February 14th, Boys to Men at the Met Philadelphia. For more information or to purchase tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com or wordradio.com and click on the Boys to Men banner.
This hour was brought to you by Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church. Visit enontab.org. Enon, a place where people encounter God.
Philly, D.C., and everything in between. Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Breaking down the latest in local and national news. Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. Right here on Word Radio.
Join the Shoppers Paradise Black Expo 2019 at Temple University, Minton Hall, December 14th and 15th from 12 noon to 9 p.m. Call 484-524-3614. Enjoy food, fun, community forums to support Black business, performances by Intruders and Shirley Lights.
We filmed 15 Pennsylvania kids who were all waiting to be adopted and asked what having a family and permanent home would mean to them.
I want a family just to accept me for who I am, to be there just to support me whenever I'm needing it.
To be matched with a family would be amazing. I won't be in a system all the time.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Drive in with Solomon Jones. Drive home with Charles Ellison. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Philadelphia, independent Black media. The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on Word Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
You're listening to The Source, an eclectic arrangement of diverse, powerful voices tackling the issues that affect us all. So let's get started with The Source.
Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah. Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer. For only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's